topics, whether conscious or cosmic. It's never nonsense, mega levels are microscopic. It's a Killah Priest project, AD control the rocket. Before we land the plane, many things we engage and explain. The unexplained, without mask. Welcome to the Killah Priest podcast. The Killah Priest podcast. Podcast with a law man. Just open up the broadcast. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Killah Priest Podcraft. I am your host, Killah Priest the Iron Sheik. You know what I mean? Running the rock is none other than AD. Dizzle, what up?
Yeah, what's good? Welcome back.
Yep, peace. Shout out to Solo Gems. He's not here today, but he will be watching it. You know what I'm saying? We got a hell of a show for y'all today. Oh, first of all, shout out to all the mods coming in, man. Unsubscribe. That's a dope name, man, because that's like an oxymoron right there. Dago. I'll wait for y'all to come in. Shout out to Jared up in the building. It says, love that new KP. What's that? What? Mustard seed? Shout out to mustard seed. Oh, I mustard seed. Yep. Nag Hamadi. Oh, that's another one. So, yep. Abraxas 2 is on his way. Yo, salute KP. Thank you for being here. And AD, yeah, shout out. How you cool job. Yeah. Brian Douglas in the building. Shout out to you, my brother. Word, it's gonna be a great show today. I took it back to the old school Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? Got paperwork. Today's gonna be a hell of a show. We got guest today, Mitch Horowitz, man. This is gonna be crazy. This is from John Newsom, man. Shout out to John Newsom. We're gonna get into some esoteric. Crazy. I know y'all like that esoteric knowledge, and come on, man, the forbidden and the hidden, the missing and the secrets, Egypt and all of the dark sayings, and y'all love that stuff on the craft, and that's what the craft be pushing, man. So it's gonna be real good today. I can't wait till he comes in. On the other side of things, yo, AD, why don't you tell the people our new schedule?
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing Sunday and Thursday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just kind of works best with what I got going on with my schedule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things will be flipping around. We might have to change it up again in a couple months. Who knows?
Well, I'll be doing some other stuff too, man.
Yeah, you know, you got things going on too. So
Yeah.
It's like things are always going to be shifting.
Yeah.
But we stay flexible.
That's right.
We be like water.
Yeah.
We are water.
Walter Reed.
Yeah.
Walter.
The water of love.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's cool. Man, he's going to be talking about uncanny reality, ESP, man, precognition, telepathy. I got so much thing. Awaken the mind, thoughts becoming reality. Today also is the day that Maxwell passed away, transcended with the ancestors. Also, this is the day that we dropped Black Market Militia. Yep, Jordan Maxwell passed away this day. So it's gonna be crazy. So I guess we got that spirit. I mean, we was probably the last cast that interviewed the great Jordan Maxwell. And it was wonderful, man. It was crazy. Good evening, Jay Bland. I see you, man. I see you. Peace to you. Jared Fuller. Yo, make sure y'all, rest in peace to George Foreman. Wow, that's right. I couldn't forget.
Oh, wow.
Legendary, great George Foreman, man. Yo, he was a beast. I was talking to Ghost last night, and we was just going through it. Like, I don't think nobody was strong as George, man. Tyson is something else, but George Foreman was on another level, man, when it came to strength, chopping trees, just like logs, and, you know, Big George. Joe Frazier couldn't take him. Kid Norton couldn't take him. Ronnie Lyles, man, my man, R.A. the Rugged Man is in town too. We're gonna be here. So I'll wait for him to come in to really go in all the science behind the boxing. But it just paramount, and everything just add up that he transcended to the ancestors. So R.I.P. to George Foreman. Shout out to his family and everything. Y'all know we looking at the shout out to you too, Solo Facts. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be real good. Yeah, man. Salute. He was a great man. George Foreman was a great boxer, man, and strong too. You know anything about George Foreman?
Yeah, I mean, I know I got his grill. You know what I'm saying?
You can't forget that.
I make grilled cheese on that.
Yeah, you can't forget that. That's one thing he did outside of boxing, and also a ring, talking about the fights and everything. Well, he did George Foreman grill.
Yeah,
That sold maybe
sold
billions.
a lot.
Yeah, billions.
A lot of people
so
have a
much
George
money.
Foreman grill.
And all of his family, all his sons and the daughters, he named everybody George.
Oh, what?
Everybody named George. George 1, George 2, George 3. Can't even get a Georgina or anything like that, but everybody name is George, man. So, man, you was a legend. May they take you with just beautiful, warm, embrace you with warm lights, and you just, be welcomed into the ancestor realm. And then his energy goes into the next boxer, and that boxer may be the champion. So let that resonate, you know what I mean, for the great George Foreman. Where I had a little something to eat, man, before this, and I don't like to eat before the Podcraft.
What'd you eat? What was it?
Just some fish. I had we eat fish.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Little white fish?
Yeah, some white rice. That's probably the thing that turned into sugar. That's probably gonna get me like, ugh.
Depends on how much rice you had. We talked about that last week with the ratio.
Yeah.
Protein to carb ratio.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop trying to finish the plate. I think that we've been fooled with like finishing the whole plate.
Yeah.
Just eat some now and then some later.
There's also an order. You know about the order, right?
Nah, what's
you gotta start with the veggies first, protein second, carbs last.
Well, I had my veggies today, my greens.
If you do it in that order,
broccoli.
you get less of an insulin spike.
Okay.
Bless you.
Crown broccoli, right?
Whatever your veggies are first.
Yeah.
Like it could be a salad, or then your proteins, and then you save your starches.
I haven't done a salad in a while.
For last.
Cold, uncooked.
It could be that. It could be veggies.
You know what
it
I
could be
mean?
carrots. It could
Raw.
be the broccoli.
Yo, is that fake? But I mean, I'm hearing new type of knowledge out there that's saying that you can cook your vegetables and they won't lose the nutrients.
I mean, you can lose a little bit, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of benefits for each veggie.
Yeah, I heard. I don't have enough knowledge on it, but I heard somewhere that you don't really cook out the nutrients and the greens, so it's okay. And you shouldn't eat everything raw because certain things that's raw probably has some kind of side effect, or it's trying to protect itself. It don't want to get eaten. Yeah. So it's like
there's some stuff you should always cook, like at least broccoli.
Yeah, it kills parasites.
Right.
Kills.
But you can have raw carrots. Raw carrots is really good for you.
Okay.
It just like it like kind of cleans the.
I'm not in that. I'm not in that.
I study all that, man. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm not in that carrot. I'll try some carrots.
Raw carrots, yeah. It goes in there like just sweeps. It sweeps up. It's like cleaning house.
Yeah. My eyes have been good.
It's good for men too, and good for the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for men, like what? Like carrot.
So it pulls estrogen out of the body.
Okay, estrogen. Okay.
Yeah, man.
I gotta check. I'm gonna check it out. Start
raw
doing
carrots,
some of that. Yeah.
But I would still keep cooking.
Feeling a little better.
Keep cooking the broccoli though. Collard greens.
Yeah.
Keep cooking that.
Broccoli.
Spinach.
Yeah.
Spinach has the oxalates, so you gotta really cook that up.
Somebody said raw garlic is medicine.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I would save garlic for the last meal because it can make you tired.
Hot. A lot of garlic is hot, yo. It'd be burning, like, you know what I mean?
Like
clove.
And if you're sick, it's good for you too.
Yeah. The whole thing
we can talk food all day.
Yeah, you know how we doing here, man. We talk food. Food goes in with knowledge. It's called food for thought. They all roll together,
We got your guest ready in the background.
Okay. When you have a feast, there was always around kings.
Yeah.
Everybody you talk about in the ancient world, they were kings. Like, you had to be of another level. But anyway, let's get ready to start, man. My guest is here, Mitch Horowitz. Let's bring him to the Podcraft. Let's lower the drawbridge, the spaceship for Mitch Horowitz.
I should get a drawbridge sound effect.
Yeah, that'd be dope, right?
All I got is this.
Hey.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
Man, it's an honor
See you.
to meet you, my brother. How you doing?
Likewise. I'm great. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm digging the conversation about food. I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
Probably too much.
Yeah. Food for thought, man.
So, dig this. For many years, I studied the work of a spiritual philosopher, G.I. Gurdjieff.
Mhm.
And one of his students came to him one time and said he was suffering from a depression. And Gurdjieff said to him, whenever you eat whatever you wish, but just leave a little bit over, and it will help your mood tremendously. And the man said it really did help him. Sometimes simple things are very radical.
What do you mean, like eat a little bit over? Like
Just don't finish. Whatever you're eating, just leave maybe, I don't know, 10% on the plate.
Wow.
Stop before you're full, and it really improves your mood.
Wow.
And the man said that it was effective. So it's something I try to practice. Yeah.
Something to look into. I might get on that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the jewel.
Oh yeah, no, it's so important. I mean, I like some people would say that maybe my habits are not the healthiest because I smoke weed and I drink liquor, and I know that's not for everybody, but I do try to keep. I think the number one thing that keeps a person healthy and the number one thing that expands lifespan is lowered caloric intake. Whatever a person eats, and I think men and women can eat just about anything. But if we would all reduce our calories, I try, by 10 or 20%, makes a huge difference, and a person will live longer.
Man, that's some knowledge, jewel for you. Doesn't vodka have no calories in it? It said vodka is like
Well, we tried a little experiment here at home, and it went poorly. I was talking to my doctor,
right,
and I said to him, of all the liquors, what's the healthiest? And he said tequila. I think that was bad advice for me. So we tried that for a week, and that went badly.
The tequila plant. Yeah.
I was like, really? My doctor told me. I brought a doctor's note to the liquor store.
Hey, man, you gotta respect the doctor. Hey, you were here on the doctor's time.
Priest gave me that on my birthday. It was interesting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you've been doing some shots.
Tequila?
I gave him some tequila on his birthday. He went.
That's a nice gift.
Yeah, that was I don't think you want to talk about that.
But I honestly I had no hangover. It was weird. I had no headache. I was confused. My body didn't feel 100%, but I had no headache.
Yeah. Well,
I was a little discombobulated for 48 hours though, but
yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
That
was kind of pretty crazy. Yeah. No, he had a good time. His legs, it was
wobbly.
Yeah, they were wobbly. Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. You had a great birthday party, man.
Yeah.
We did it up for him.
Well, once in a lifetime, because I ain't ever doing that ever again.
Hey, man, you only live once.
That's true.
Or do you?
Man.
Mitch,
Right.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Horowitz is in the building, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, let's talk, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So, what do we have to look at right now? What's going on with the state of the world and everything, and where do we tie in with spirituality with that?
Well, years ago, a teacher of mine who's now dead, I don't know what was happening. I think maybe it was at the time of George W. Bush's invasion of Iraq. And I was very unhappy about it, not that anybody cared. And he said to me, look, when there's times of war going on, when there are events that are out of hand, the thing to do is be mindful that a great deal of energy is going to get unleashed, and that energy is going to go in a lot of different directions. At times, that energy may actually be helpful to you. That energy may help you with your projects, tragic as it is. At other times, that energy may overwhelm you. But the key thing is to watch very, very carefully. Don't don't avoid talking about it, but don't over talk about it.
In
Don't
many
avoid
ways,
the
hip hop.
news, but watch very, very carefully.
Yeah. What's going on over there?
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was my teacher.
Yeah. Frequencies is starting up, man.
I was in trouble.
Man, oh man. Okay. So, what you been working on lately?
Well, this new book, Practical Magic, is coming out on Tuesday, and I just got copies of this thing on Friday. I'm holding it in my hands. I just got it, and I'm excited about it. I tried to do one chief thing in this book, and that was that I really want to simplify magic. I want to bring it down to a very, very simple place. And I really believe this in my heart, and this is something I share with your listeners and your viewers. I've worked with a lot of different magical systems, you name it, Kabbalah, ceremonial magic, everything that's carried over from the Renaissance or late antiquity that's reached us today. And my conviction at this point in my search is I really believe this in my heart, that we are beings who live both a physical existence and an extra physical existence, and that there's a possibility, a very, very strong and real possibility, that we're able to select among different infinite events going on in different time intersections, or what some people might call different dimensions. And I believe that it's really possible that the focused wish, the impassioned, focused wish, may be enough. It may be that the ceremonies and liturgy and pageantry and all the complexity, it might be helpful in some settings, but it can become a trap. It can become a crutch. And I am always asking people, and the thing that I ask people in this book is to, in private, don't share it with anybody, but just in private, come down to a realization of their most cherished, most passionately held wish. And don't be embarrassed about it, whatever it is. It's very important to keep it private. And we are all creatures of peer pressure and conditioning. And I encourage people to try to think about wishes that they might have held from their earliest memories, like maybe ages 3 or 4, before peer pressure starts to get its claws into us. And often people come to me and they say, I have a certain wish, but I'm worried that it's selfish, for example. And there's a place for that. I believe very strongly that we have to be ethical. We have to be reciprocal with one another. Relationships are life. But sometimes what we call selfish is really just internalized peer pressure. And I want people inside and in private to be very, very unembarrassed about whatever they want, because I think that can open us up. And we don't do it very often. We let our wishes get taken away from us, and we talk about them too much. So that's one of the things I'm really working with.
Man, that's so true. I've experienced that. I like to keep stuff in sometimes because, yeah, you were right. Sometimes we put stuff out and before it's time, it's not really nourished yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people will destroy it, the jealousies and so forth. And I encourage people to be very careful. Like if they have a wish, something they want to accomplish in this world, whatever it may be, be really careful around friends or family members. You don't have to share your wish, and you can be a good person and pay your debts to people around you without ever sharing that wish. And it can be very powerful to abide that silence.
Solitude. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, inside the book, could you take us inside of there a little bit? I mean, without spoiling too much.
Yeah. Oh, no, not at all. I think I start the book. I quote an occultist from who died in the late 1940s named Jack Parsons. He was a student of Aleister Crowley. He was a brilliant rocket scientist, very dedicated occultist, great man. But he was maybe overly generous as a person. And just after World War II, a visitor came knocking on his front door, a man named L. Ron Hubbard, who everybody has now heard of. And Aleister Crowley said, "Watch out for this guy. He's going to be trouble." And Jack didn't listen, and L.
Oh
Ron
wow.
Hubbard stole his girlfriend, stole his money,
Wow.
caused him a lot of grief and problems. And Crowley was disappointed with Jack, so Crowley separated from him and said, "Go find yourself another teacher. I'm fed up with your naivete." And Jack was very frustrated, and he was very alone in the world. He had lost his friends, he had lost his teacher, and he wrote to his wife, Marjorie Cameron, that every idea war in humanity has been won by the principle of simplicity. And at this point, Magick does not have it. And very soon after that, he died. He was blown up in his garage. His wife thought he was murdered. Other people thought he was blown up. He was experimenting with some pyrotechnics. But in any case, he died very young, about age 38. And so I took Jack's statement as my inspiration, and I wanted to figure out how we could go about simplifying magic. And so first, I do a history of magic from earliest humanity, and dig this. I mean, I still haven't really wrapped my mind around this. Even pre-humanity in the form of Neanderthal man. Neanderthal man is really an ancestor to humanity. He's pre-sapiens. He's Neanderthal. And yet what's incredible, and I don't think we as a culture have ever digested this. What's incredible is Neanderthal men and women, they had a spirituality that's a lot like ours. They would wear talismans, for example, you know, like in their case, an eagle claw or a bear claw, which was thought to be of help with the hunt. And they would also fashion these little statues. They stand about 4 inches tall. And in the 19th century, archaeologists called them Venus figurines. It's the form of a woman. It looks like an impregnated woman, round, bulbous breasts, large belly, and it's thought to be a fertility statue. And of course, the Neanderthal communities had to move around a lot. They were hunter-gatherers. So by necessity, everything they had to be quite small. And we started to discover these things in the mid-19th century. And it's incredible to me because if you really stop and think about it, these beings, while they're very, very similar to us, they're not us. They're not us. You know, they're pre-human. And yet they had a spirituality. And it seems to me objectively, that tells us that spirituality, a belief in the extraphysical, a belief in the gods, it's objective. It's not socially conditioned. It's not just conformity or what I grew up with. And I would say it's not even just brain chemistry, because these beings, although they were very similar to us, they were different physically, and presumably they had different brain chemistry. So the cynics who say, "Oh, this God stuff, it's just such and such circuits firing in the brain, or it's just a cultural conformity, or it's just a way that we deal with fear." Well, I've got another example, and it's a being, an intelligent being that predates us on this planet. So I go back to Neanderthal men and women, march up through scripture, and you find magic constantly in scripture. You know, like we think of the Jewish people as monotheistic, the first monotheists, and yet they weren't really monotheistic. They worshipped one God, but they acknowledged other gods. And it's really extraordinary, you know, because some of the statements that we might use today, like a word like abracadabra, magical word, every kid knows it, right?
Yeah.
In scripture, in the book of Genesis, we're told that Egyptian subjects would run in front of Joseph's chariot. Joseph at the time was Pharaoh's prime minister. And they would yell, "Abrak, abrak." And we don't really know what it means. Like Barack in Aramaic can be blessing, so it's like the name Barack Obama, or in Hebrew it's Baruch, and I'm fairly sure, and I trace it that Abrak is the foundation of our abracadabra, and it's wild because we use it every day, and it connects us to the ancients. However thin, it really does connect us to the ancients, and it's meaningful. It's very meaningful to me. And so I march up through all that, and then I begin to like analyze some different forms of magic that I use, that I really believe in. And another thing that I think is simple but very, very powerful is that I've been studying magic for years and years, and it finally dawned on me as I was writing this book that I think that the energy behind magic that sometimes gets referred to in an oblique way by our ancestors, as well as by more modern magicians, is the sexual urge. I think the sexual urge is what's behind a lot of magic. And there's a very simple but very powerful exercise that I write about in the book, which is sometimes called sex transmutation. Super simple. Doesn't require abstaining from sexuality or anything like that. But at times of the individual's own choosing, in private, when he or she feels the sexual urge, through a mental shift, you can direct that sexual urge towards whatever you're working on. Maybe it's a creative act, maybe it's an athletic act, whatever it is, anything that's important to you. And when you do that, you will feel greater intellect, creativity, energy, intellectual acumen behind that act. And I've worked for years with this, and I believe it's effective. And I think that's the, if there's sort of a secret behind magic, that's the secret. That's what I believe. So I write about things like that, where I'm trying to really get it down to basics.
Yeah, man. And thinking about what you just said, that's so true about, because they have, I've heard the term sex magic and things like that. That's a lot of energy you putting in, and pulling and pulling. That's a lot of energy. I always felt that way, but no, it's like if you put that energy somewhere, something could happen.
Absolutely.
Look into that, man.
And the simplest form, really, of sex magic.
Right.
I mean, I love Aleister Crowley as an artist. I love Aleister Crowley as a magician.
Right. What do you mean artist, real quick?
Oh, he brought, his aesthetic was incredible. I mean, you look at, it's hard to imagine that in our culture today, we would have a culture of, say, like people in like the heavy metal world. They borrow so heavily from the aesthetic of this man who lived a century ago. I mean, if you say magician nowadays, almost everybody will think of an image of Crowley, some scowling guy with a shaved head and his black robe. He was a genius. I mean, I think he treated people very badly. I would not have sought him out as my teacher. A lot of people got hurt around him. I don't like him as a man, but as an artist, he was beautiful. I mean, he was really beautiful. And he did things that no one had really done before. Like, for example, people say, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love under will is the law. Crowley, that do what thou wilt approach.
Right.
He said he received that in kind of a channeled dictation when he was visiting Egypt in April of 1904 over the course of 3 days. And he turned that into this little book, the Book of the Law. And
damn,
the word channeling wasn't even used at that time. We didn't even have words precisely for what he was doing. He was such a pioneer. If I have any criticism of his work, it's that, like, he took something like sex magic and he made it very complex, and I think it can be very simple. And so, for example, before Crowley, there lived a man in America, P.B. Randolph, in the mid-19th century. And he was a man of mixed race. He was a man of mixed black and white race. He lived in the 5 Points neighborhood, or what used to be called the 5 Points neighborhood in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And his sex magic was that at sexual climax, just think of your wish. Think of your well-defined wish at sexual climax, kind of like what you were just saying. And that energy does go someplace. A cynic might say it's just psychological reconditioning, and it's like, well, if it's psychological reconditioning, it's very powerful.
There you go.
Sure works.
Right.
I think it's more than that, though. And I encourage people all the time just to try these things. You know, it's private. Again, you don't have to tell your shrink. You don't have to tell your girlfriend. You just, just do it in private. Don't talk about it too much. But nothing is possible unless the individual really has a defined wish, I believe. I think that wish has got to be defined.
Yeah.
Man. So technically, I mean, I've looked into a lot of this stuff. It's really using the power of the subconscious, it seems, because
yes,
a lot of the things that you would do is meant to stay in the subconscious. I know. Are you familiar with Grant Morrison?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I dig him. Yeah.
So through Grant Morrison, he's like a comic book writer, right? He did this whole disinformation type of talk, and he was talking about sigil magic.
Oh,
so when he got into sigil magic, I looked into that. I learned how to draw your own sigils, and then activating it was what you're speaking on. There's many ways to activate it, and one of them is through that, through the orgasmic type of ritual. You would kind of activate it that much more because it's entering your subconscious. You know what I mean?
Not a new concept.
What's that?
No, I'm saying, I was talking to AD. It's not like I don't think it's not a new concept, but it's something that was always there,
right?
And a few people tapped into it, but they didn't know how to explain it, or I think it's time now, right? It's like a seed that was growing for a minute, so.
A lot of times, all of this stuff already exists, but certain magical practices will direct your focus as to why. Do you know what I mean? So like we're practicing these things all the time. Like when we go to corporate America, all of those logos are sigil magic.
Right.
You're so right, man.
Yeah, you're on point with that.
The McDonald's logo is a sigil. Yeah. Everything is a sigil. Every single corporate logo we see is a sigil.
Right.
And now for us, that's just a regular logo. But for the people who are creating that logo, they've activated it in their own way. Even the rock stars, their album covers, Led Zeppelin, they would have rituals. Right. You know what I mean? And to the unknowing Christian, it's like, ooh, that's woo-woo, that's scary, demonistic, devil stuff. No. They're messing with a magic that's kind of just connected to the subconscious. It's a cult because it's hidden.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's not scary. There's no demons or, I mean, there might be in another practice perhaps, but for what the sigil stuff is, the rituals are based on creating power within the subconscious mind, which is more powerful than we realize. And that's what it is. Now, when I looked into it more, I found chaos magic.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to jump ahead. I think you probably
not at all. I want to comment on these things. It's great.
When I looked up chaos magic, because I'm a big fan of Marvel. I think the most powerful Avenger is the witch.
Yes.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Scarlet Witch.
It's most powerful. So when you look up, it's all fandom. You know what I mean? It's fiction, but it's not. And when I looked it up, I'm like, well, her ultimate power is chaos magic. Now in the comic books, she acquired this power through, some kind of connection she had. But when you look at it in the real world, chaos magic is an actual thing, using your subconscious mind to create reality. Right. You know what I mean?
Like cartoon.
In a way, a cartoon can be a considered thing. But I don't want to jump ahead, but I just wanted to mention how I thought chaos magic is a real world thing. Working with the subconscious.
Totally dig that. And what you were saying about corporate logos, it's interesting. What is McDonald's but the pyramids? What is Starbucks but the mermaid? What is the Scarlet Witch but a witch? And then you've got Ozzy on his album covers, kind of dolled up to look a little bit like Crowley and so forth. And everything is myth. Everything is myth. And we just move through different eras of life with different vocabulary and so forth, but we're drawing on the same myths as our ancestors, just like the word abracadabra.
Yeah.
But I quote from Grant Morrison in the book, and I love him. And sigil magic is another of these things that's so beautiful and simple. It really just involves, and it was pioneered by an English artist in the early 20th century, I'll say, early 20th century, Austin Osman Spare, and it's been developed more fully ever since. All you do really is, let's say there's something you wish you want in life, something you need in life in a big way. It could be very urgent, could be something you need tomorrow. You write down your statement of what you need. Very simple sentence, whatever it may be. Keep it very simple. And then there are different methods of doing this, but one method is you cross out repeating letters. Okay. So then you're left with a jumble of letters. You take that jumble of letters and you fashion it into a sigil, kind of like a magical symbol. Make it look magical. It's your own personal private decoration. And then you charge it, this sigil, this little symbol, usually through sexual climax. People talk about different ways of doing it. You can use meditation, you can use ecstatic dance, you can use drugs if you take drugs, but most people charge it with sexual climax. And then, and this is the hard part, you forget all about it, which is very difficult for me.
Oh yeah,
because I'm a lunatic. So you forget all about it. And you just wait. And the thing I encourage people to do, sometimes people think, oh, nothing happened. Don't be so sure, because things that reach us in the world, solutions that reach us in the world, sometimes arrive in such a mundane way, we overlook them. We think, no, that can't be it. Or by contrast, they could arrive in such a weird way, like such a strange, unusual way, that we just discount them. But whatever reaches us will reach us through open channels, and that could be mundane and that could be weird. Whatever it is, people miss it all the time. Like in mythology or in scripture, sometimes there are plenty of stories about some sort of a angel or a spirit messenger or a king disguised as a stranger, and they get turned away at every door. But whomever offers that stranger hospitality is showered with riches. And magic can be a little bit like that. Don't neglect that stranger because you think, oh, here's just another nut or whatever. I think that's a metaphor for magic. So sigil magic, again, very powerful, and sexuality is part of the operation.
It's wow. Yeah. Man, I think like we all ready for this. Because it's like right now, what you're saying is like, I'm not scared of it. It's like I'm not spooked out by it. And it's like, man, I mean, that kind of like touched me, man. Like I'm like, dang, we have powers that we don't use. We too scary, too much fear and stuff like that, And it's like, you're talking some real type of things that we got to get into a little bit more. I think we're ready as not just a community, but a whole culture for this to come about.
I feel like it's always been like explained to us in different ways. Like the Matrix,
right?
Neo is the neocortex,
right?
But Morpheus is your subconscious.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? When you're working with magic, quote unquote,
what are you doing?
If you're working with magic, quote unquote, you're basically just you're talking to Morpheus.
Right.
If you want to have a conversation with Morpheus in your life,
you
talk to your subconscious. Our subconscious is the part of us that believes in prophecy, oracle, and all that stuff. Like it's connected to the higher realms, and the higher realms are like working in the background whether we want them to or not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So, like, the subconscious realm, when you connect to your subconscious, you're kind of working with yourself. That's Neo, the neocortex, working with your subconscious mind. Morpheus. Do you know what I mean?
You're right on point.
And the Trinity, those the Holy Trinity. That's another topic. I would digress, go in there, but that's another metaphor for how they're already talking about the power of our subconscious mind. When you draw something, that's not you. That's your subconscious. As soon as you start writing, and you
You
Priest, you write all the time.
No. Stay. You right there.
You a writer.
Go ahead.
Every time we move the pen.
What were you saying? That the word right is like being right?
Okay.
What are you saying?
You could say that your right hand, your right brain.
Yeah.
Because your right brain
wanna go
is like your, there's a left brain, right brain hemispheres. Left brain is more Egypt, more logic, more numbers. Right brain is more creative, drawing. You know what I mean? More connected to the creativity. It's the female aspect of us. You know what I'm saying? It's mercurial. But you know what I mean? When you write something and you draw something, you're connected more to the right brain. Some people are left-handed because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you're more connected to that side, and that's your subconscious. So that's why writing is so powerful. You know what I mean? When they say when you learn information, they make you take notes. Why we gotta take notes? When you take notes, you're putting it in your subconscious. We write things down to make it so. So the power of writing it, you put it into the universe. So even the beginning of magic. I mean, we're going like for the basics, you know, but you know, because the sexual activation is kind of advanced. You know what I mean? But just writing something down, period, is you putting it out into the universe.
What do you mean advanced?
Taking notes. Well, because when you talk about activation, that's kind of an advanced. He's a very advanced magician. You know what I mean? But if you just wrote what you wanted
What you
down,
mean by advanced magician?
he's advanced. Like he knows his stuff, and he knows how to activate it and make it happen, like it's magic.
Right.
But I'm saying in the most
Well, he's
elementary.
trying to teach us, though, right? I think.
No, he's doing great. But I'm saying in the most elementary form, if you wrote something down and put it on your refrigerator, you're doing a small level of magic also because it's your daily reminder. Right. You wrote it down. You're putting it into existence. People have journals. Right. People have diaries, and all of that technically, wouldn't you say, is, you can call it magic, but it's imprinting something into the universe and making it so.
I agree. Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways that's the heart of chaos magic. Yeah. Like I would say, I mean, chaos magic and chaos theory are not like directly connected, but they are in a sense of their fundamentals. In that, okay, you'll find. Chaos theory basically teaches us that one particle change in a system will necessarily change everything. So there's no such thing as a small ripple or a small change. One change, you introduce some piece of exotic matter or something unexpected into a computer program or whatever, and you're going to have a completely different outcome. And likewise for life. And so a chaos magician might tell himself, if I do one thing that's unexpected in my life, whatever it is, something that's supposed to be so habitual and expected for me, and if I completely go wild and do something different, everything will change, even if it's just for one time. But this is also true, you know, in terms of what AD was saying, like about writing something down. If you were to write down a wish, for example, there is something tactile and real there on a piece of paper that wasn't there before. And it seems so small. But the very smallness is the point, because that will change things. That will change things if that act had never been performed. And the change could be radical. And there are even some people who practice chaos magic who are atheists, for example. They do not believe in deity. They do not believe in the gods. I do. That's not my outlook, but I respect their outlook insofar as they believe that one small wrinkle, one small act can just change and reprogram everything. And a master of this, in a certain sense, is Donald Trump, because he will upset norms all the time in language, in politics. He will just claim to be real, whatever he wants to be real, and apparently it works. I'm not encouraging everybody to do that. You know, the individual has to find his or her own aptitude. I also believe respect and relationships are life. So I will not humiliate people. I will not run people down. But if you look at what he does, there's the actions of a chaos magician there.
Wow.
Wouldn't this also correlate with the power of word? Speaking into existence. We often say word is bond.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that principle. That's so important. And I say to people in spirituality, if you cannot keep your word, if I cannot keep my word, I can't do anything. I can't be trusted to water a house plant, and I really try to work with that too. And it can be very, I have a friend in England who has I suppose she has a pagan circle, like a coven. And everybody who enters that coven, everybody who enters their world,
Did you say
they
pagan?
have, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like, and they worship the old gods, the old Celtic gods, and their primary exercise, believe it or not, is you have to keep your word. And everybody thinks to themselves, yeah, I get it, but we don't get it because only when something is applied does the profundity appear. It's very hard to keep our word sometimes. And I break my word sometimes because I might have a reason or I might just have a personal failing. But I have to carry that. I simply have to carry that. I think that if a person dedicated his life just to keeping his word, I think that would be a worthy spiritual practice in and of itself. I really do.
Man.
That's one of the 4 agreements from
Yeah,
his impeccable word.
impeccable word.
Yeah.
It's I
I'm
really
putting
believe,
everything to the table right now. I'm sitting down listening.
it's so funny because I grew up in an atmosphere. I grew up in an atmosphere that was there was a very orthodox religiosity. I grew up Jewish, and I had an Orthodox bar mitzvah. And you want to get into detail and ceremony, if you like that, become an Orthodox Jew because
Mm.
you'll have all you could ever want. But I ran away from it at a certain point, and it's not because I don't think it had beauty, but because, well, what can I say? I have some friends who would disagree with me, but
Mm.
I believe in one universal approach to spirituality, and I believe that that universal approach, as Jack Parsons said, is going to reach us through simplicity. So that's why I keep trying to boil them down. And I see people out in the world who are lonely, who need work, who need money, and these are real things. I mean, these are things nobody should ever have to apologize for. And I want magic to be useful to the individual. That's my wish.
Let me man, yo, you speaking like something that's true brotherhood because it's something about going into exile. When you and your word from exile is even stronger from being in the midst. So you to leave that and to formulate and chase your dreams. Wow, it's wild because that's mystic too. Chasing dreams. Where we at? To do that is a powerful move, and we share
Yeah.
that. I share that with you also. We all have a story, and we sit around, and somehow we all keep meeting up, and it's for
Yeah.
something. I think it's for something bigger. Please tell me what it is. If you have an inkling of it, I'm ready for it.
Well, it seems to me, look, at this point in the search, my my impression is my impression is that the purpose of our existence is self-expression. We read in scripture, God created man in his own image, or the ancient Egyptians told us, as above, so below, which is really predates the scriptural concept, as does so much from ancient Egypt. And I believe that as we were created by deity, spirit, the gods, however one wants to put it, an overmind, whatever one's term, so do we have to create. And I think that in our world today, a lot of people complain about feeling depressed. They complain about anxiety. They spend
Talk.
years and years, bothering their
Woo.
friends.
Yeah, yo.
and and I think it's that lack of self-expression that causes a great deal of that. That's what I believe.
Like a self-expression.
However a person defines it, that could be any number of things. That could be having a household. That could be acting as a great athlete. That could be being a musician, a writer, any number of things, any number of. But when the individual is not in expression, I think he or she is anxious, depressed, depleted, goes to the shrink year in and year out. Nothing ever changes. Um, Always feels anxious, feels disrespected. But I believe that a lack of self-expression it's unbearable for us, because I think that's our birthright. That's who we are supposed to be as a human community.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you see me looking. His cat is off the hook. About to do a jump
what do you
right
do?
there. Yeah, no, you know about MoreMito. He's about to jump.
I have an orange tabby that roams the house, scares
Oh.
everybody, but
Dig.
he's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
he's kind of the protector of the spirits.
Right. He's your familiar.
This could,
Yeah.
you think?
I get no paranormal activity in this house.
Yeah.
They're
It's
too afraid of my
paranormal
cat.
activity. Yeah, exactly. But he knows it.
I also sage the house, though.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's good. My partner Jacqueline does that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge
I dig.
difference.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had trouble sleeping sometimes. I'll sage the house, open the windows.
What
10
kind
minutes
of-
later, I'll knock out.
Wow.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. The
Is it because of the
sage-
fumes?
It just cleans the air. Technically, it's happening in like the microcosm. It's quantum physics,
Yeah.
but it's technically just cleaning the air. Do you know what I mean?
I saw the red sage they have now.
Okay.
You seen that?
I just know white sage and Palo Santo.
Yeah, Palo Santo.
That's
they have a
powerful.
red sage.
Yeah. But I like to clean the air. Kind of a clean freak around here. I got an air purifier.
Right.
and everything. But yeah, the white sage, I'm so convinced how powerful it is because the way the energy shifts, and especially when you have people over.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of people over on my birthday and everything, so like the energy is gonna be different after they leave. 'Cause
Right.
remnants of their energy is gonna stay in wherever they are.
Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you think that this is the answer for anxiety?
Well, I struggled with anxiety my whole life. I never was depressed for a day, but I had a lot of anxiety. And when I started writing, speaking as a full-time vocation, which I'm very blessed to be able to do,
Right.
it's the first time in my life that I started to feel truly, truly happy. Now, there are people, I think there are biological causes, of course, for depression and anxiety. And
Yeah.
sometimes like a problem has a complexity of causes, so it might have a complexity of solutions. But I do believe that so much of the low-level depression and anxiety that many of us feel in life, I think it could be lifted if in expression, and that can take any form it wants. I mean, that for some person that might be starting a business. For some person, look, that might be, getting rid of friends who they feel disrespect them. I see so many people trapped in relationships because they feel that leaving those relationships would cause them to suffer too many negative consequences. And we almost always exaggerate that. I really believe that so a form of self-expression, for example, could be saying, you know what, this so-called best friend has been disrespecting me with sort of backhanded compliments or subtle put-downs for 10 years, and enough of it. And people very rarely do it. They rarely do it. They go through all kinds of cognitive behavioral exercises. And I think we as a human community need to be more profoundly self-respecting and more expressive. I think it's better for a person to be alone, for example, than to be in low company, than to have bad friends. I've had. I just think we have so many levers of power that we don't use, and we could do better.
Dang. Man, you going in. Yeah, you going in. You going in. Dang.
So
company.
wouldn't you say that this aspect of it is more toward self-improvement? It can be used for enhancing one's not only just getting rid of anxiety, but like just improving themselves. You can like kind of modify your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like if we knew the power of our thoughts, we would never have a negative one ever again.
Well, I'm very deeply into positive mind philosophy, new thought. I think I gravitated to it many years ago because, again, I'm the guy who's always trying to make everything more simple. And the thing I love about the positive mind approach is that, which is basically teaches us that thoughts are causative. As you think, so will happen to you. I believe that there's deep, deep truth to that that people overlook, or they run it down. They think, oh, that's just kid stuff. That's just, kind of spirituality with training wheels or what have you. But I don't see it that way. I think there's great power there. And you also find that expression in I would say virtually every religion on earth: Judaism, Christianity, ancient Egyptian religion, which is really the true religion, um, Buddhism, Hinduism, teaches that as you think, so will happen to you. It couldn't be that everybody across the globe, using different language, different cultures, different epochs of time, is teaching that because they're naive or because they're just being childish. I mean, it's a universal idea. It's a universal idea. And I think we should all work with it. It's available to us, and if it doesn't work, forget it, try something else. But I tell people all the time, try it for 24 hours. See if you don't stand taller. See if you're not happier. See if you're not more relaxed.
It seems to be in the same realm as meditation, to where when you meditate, you're listening, and you're kind of
Yes.
like you're putting your subconscious in the vibration of that energy. And then when you apply magic, you're kind of pushing forward. You're pushing buttons and you're activating things.
Yes. I wanted to offer some that I think is the wildest thing of all.
Let me give AD some
Oh, I
props
love this.
today.
This is my world,
AD's
man.
going in.
Say again?
He
What's
going
that?
in. No, AD, I gotta give him some props. He going in today. I haven't seen him going in like
I love
this
this
for a long
topic.
time.
We've
Yeah,
never
this
had
topic's
such a
good.
profound guest
Yeah.
speak on this.
Oh,
This
thank
is
you,
great.
man.
This is great.
Dig this. This is wild, and I go into this in the book, and I think your listeners will really love this. Backwards causation or retrocausality. In other words, what you do in the so-called future will improve your performance in the so-called present, and it's absolutely true. And I wanna put that idea out there. Um, in quantum physics, there is a concept of retrocausality, which is really particles or objects moving backwards in time. Now, we have been taught that time is a straight line. There's an arrow of time, and that it cannot be broken. You cannot, it cannot be violated. If you break an egg, you cannot unbreak an egg. Once Humpty Dumpty is shattered, he's shattered. Well, that's not really true, because in quantum physics, there are objects that actually literally move backwards in time. And in 2011, a very great man who I love, named Daryl Bem, who is a clinical psychologist at Cornell, he published a paper that in a mainstream respected psychological journal that showed the results of 10 years of his experiments with about 1,000 subjects into precognition. And the most exciting part of Bem's experiments, and dig this, I want to say this very plainly because it's going to rock people's worlds. In Bem's experiments, he did an experiment with retrocausality in terms of our human cognition, our human consciousness. And this was his experiment. He asked his subjects to study a simple list of words, like let's say 10 words. And then he said, once they've studied it, they should name back how many of these 10 words they could remember. So on average, people would remember 5 or 6, something like that. And then, okay, he took a certain group of subjects and he had them continue to study the word list in the future. Keep studying it, keep studying it. Their scores in the present spiked. So there was a backwards causation, or a reaching backwards in time to improve the test scores of the subjects who kept studying in the future. And when he published this paper, he suffered a tidal wave of disrespect, of professional smearing, of absolute calumny. But dig this. In the decades since Bem's work, his experiments were repeated in and the repeated experiments were meta-analyzed and found confirmatory in a sample of 90 experiments in 33 different labs in 14 different nations. 90 experiments in 33 different labs in 14 different nations, including in languages other than English. And his results were found confirmatory. So, what we do in the perceived future, which is really just an illusion, what we do in the perceived future can reach backwards in time and affect our present. And it's incredible. And I'll give you one example. Several months ago, I was contacted by a Thai kickboxer named Spencer Hanley, and he had a championship match outside of Austin. And Spencer said to me, I am 9 days away from my fight, and I feel good about my training, but I'm looking for something to stay on my mental game. And he said, what do you got for me? And I gave him an exercise, which I call the 30-day mental challenge. It's really just directing your thoughts in positive direction for 30 days. And he said to me, well, listen, I'm going to do it, but you realize this fight is 9 days away. I need something more immediate. And I said to him, this is immediate, because if you keep your mental training going after the fight, according to the data that Daryl Bem produced, and according to the data that was confirmed over the course of a decade, that mental training could reach backwards and help you in the fight. And long story short, he did the match. It's on YouTube. Put in Spencer Hanley. He won. He was relaxed. He was terrific. He looked great. And he comes out, for his entry music, he chose the song Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle.
Damn.
And one of the announcers said, the fact that he's coming out to Belinda Carlisle makes me so happy. And the weird thing is, and I swear to you this is true, I have it on my phone. I'll play the voicemails for you. I had a crush on Belinda Carlisle starting at age 17.
She bad?
I've never known her. I've never met her.
Mm.
Before I wrote about any of this, talked about any of this, not a word, not a peep anywhere. She leaves me 2 voicemails over Instagram saying, I just want you to know I really dig your books. I'm a big fan and blah, blah, blah. So like I fall to pieces because this is like,
Wow.
my number one crush from my teenage years. And the whole thing was just madness. It was just madness.
Wow.
And so I really ask people to experiment with retrocausality. You just keep working in the future. Keep working in the future. There's a woman here in New York. She was out of work and she came to me and she said, look, I'm applying for a job at a religious organization and I really want this job. And so, we talked it through and she didn't get the job and she was very sad, very disappointed. She said, what can I do? And I said, here's what I recommend. And again, I talked to her about retrocausality, backwards causation. Keep preparing for it. You can apply for other jobs, keep doing whatever you need to do to get through life. We all need to do multiple things at once. But you keep preparing for that job. You keep preparing. Whatever prep you did for the interview, you keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. I can only tell you the truth of the matter. And again, I'll show you the emails. It's in the book. About a week or 10 days later, the boss man called her and said, hey, look, it so happens that we had another opening, and this one has even more hours than the other one. Would you like it? And she just freaked out. She freaked out. So all I can report is that these things occurred. Maybe they would have happened anyway, but I think these experiments are really worth trying.
Man, it's not a thought. It's not even a thought. It's like, we got to step it up.
Yeah.
It's 2025 and you still walking around here thinking you can't do nothing and you have causality right there.
Retrocausality.
Yeah. Retrocausality. That's probably what we call it now. They probably was calling it something different. But
Right.
they had the power and you just, oh man. AD, I don't know, man. I'm just feeling crazy right now. Like in a good zone.
Yeah.
Yo, Mitch, you going in? Like I'm in a good zone, and I don't know. It's just like, yo, this is real.
We have to visualize the mechanism. So if you visualize a mechanism, it's the fact that your thoughts are sending out ripples of waves out. We can't see, but it's sending out ripples of wave into the universe. And it's hard for us to fathom that because it's like it sounds woo-woo. It sounds fiction. It sounds like, like Magneto, But your thoughts can actually, that's why telepathy is actually a thing.
Yeah.
Waves. Totally a thing.
You could totally send out thoughts and waves. This is another reason why they say careful what you wish for.
Boom.
Because you might just get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be careful. And
I really believe that. Yeah.
It's
it's funny. Like when you say things about retrocausality, we've been raised to think of past, present, future. Life is a straight line. It sounds so unbelievable to us, but the truth is, we've known since Einstein that time bends in certain conditions. Time bends at or near light speed. Time bends in conditions of extreme gravity, like a black hole. And dig this, this is absolutely true. Astronauts in our own era, even though they're not moving anywhere near the velocity of light speed, they do experience minute but measurable reductions in the aging process. In effect, it's time working backwards. The whole thing is wild. But we've been told by Buddha, we've been told by the Tao Te Ching, we've been told by the I Ching, we've been told by the ancient Egyptians that time is like a circular spiral. Everything is going on all at once. So we speak in terms of past, present, future, and that may be a very necessary illusion for us to get through life because it's just how we're built. As five sensory beings. I believe we're a lot more than five sensory beings, but we're raised to see ourselves that way. And yet, if we agree that Einstein was right, if we agree that the ancients were right, it stands to reason that all events are happening everywhere at once. So studying for a test in the future can affect what we call the present. It's illusory. And I want people to just try. It's just something to try. See what happens.
Now, can you expand on that? When you talk about in the future, are we supposed to like imagine ourselves already attaining what we wanting, or?
Well, that's one way, and I think that's very powerful. But you could do it like, let's say, okay. Well, for example, let's say you're practicing, I don't know, a target shooting contest or something, and you're getting ready for the contest, and you're practicing and you're practicing and you're dedicating yourself every single day. The contest comes, you do your score, the contest ends. If you continue practicing, according to these findings, you can spike your score. You can spike your score. May not be much, but a little bit can make all the difference in life. And so it can take different forms. But my suggestion is just keep on working at whatever you've been trying to master, trying to perfect. I suppose you could say we all do it all the time anyway. Maybe a song that you wrote 10 years ago is better because you've continued to hone your skills as a great writer 10 years hence, Everything is a circle. Everything is a circle. Like the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail. I think this practice is encrypted in that, for example.
Yo, listen. I encourage the audience to slow it down a little bit so you can understand what's going on right now, because it may seem fast, and it's a lot that's going on. You learn the new words, new methods, and new ways to deal with things like this. But I encourage all of y'all, just pay attention very close to what's going on right now, because it's heavy. It's a ride. It's a ride. Mitch, you going? Oh man, I mean the floor is yours. AD, you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean I could go on and on, but I want to get to specific stuff. So, hypnotists. You know, we've all seen hypnotists and hypnotism, and you know, our schools would have these shows where a hypnotist would show up, and your friends are up there standing there, and they'll be like, they put them to sleep like that, and you're gonna think you're this, and you're gonna think you're that. I thought that was BS for the longest time as a kid. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, how can these, you know, how can hypnotism be this powerful? As you get older, you study this stuff, and they're tapping into the subconscious mind, and aren't hypnotists technically using quote unquote magic?
Definitely. Because I think when they strip away some of our conditioning, more things can come through. A weird thing happened to me with hypnotism years ago. I was at a community fair in upstate New York in a farming town, and there was a hypnotist, like a carnival performer, you know, type hypnotist, and he was on stage, and I was with one of my kids. I was with my older son, and we went there together. And so he calls a volunteer from the audience up on stage, and he puts the guy into some sort of a hypnotic trance. And it's kind of weird. He convinced the guy that he was pregnant or something like that.
Wow.
And so the guy, and so the hypnotist says to him, who made you pregnant? Who made you pregnant? And he stares out into the audience, locking eyes with me, locking eyes with me. And he said, "It's Mitch." And I was like, "What the fuck? I don't know who this guy is." And I said, "There's got to be something weird here. They must have checked license plates or something weird." And so afterwards, I go up to him with my son, and I said, and he's standing with two friends of his, man and a woman. And I said, "Listen, when the guy said who did it, you said it's Mitch, and you stared me straight in the eye." And I said, "How did you know my name was Mitch?" And the guy with him, who I guess was his friend, said, "Well, my name is Mitch." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, it was just sort of all weird.
Oh wow.
I don't know why he picked me out. I don't know how he knew my name, but if you have, I mean, look, there's a parapsychologist who studies ESP, who's now dead, great man named Charles Honorton. And Honorton did a series of experiments called the Gansfeld experiments. Gansfeld is German for open field. And he found that if you go into a state of very comfortable relaxation, like maybe with headphones on, emitting white noise, eye shades on, reclining, like just bringing yourself almost to a state of sleep, but not quite sleep. It heightens ESP activity, it heightens telepathy activity. And this is another guy who the critics damned him, but his experiments were repeated and found to be absolutely valid. And the cool thing is, this state of extreme relaxation, it is sometimes called hypnagogia, and we all experience it naturally twice a day, just in those very relaxed few moments before we fall to sleep at night. And again, just as we're awakening in the morning, your body is super, super relaxed. You're very still. You may even have like dreamlike images or hallucinations, but you're still cognizant. You can direct your thoughts. That's prime time for ESP. It's also prime time, I believe, for prayer, visualization, affirmations. So it's a very helpful state. It's kind of a self-hypnosis in a way.
Isn't that your theta state?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. And you're experiencing, like, you may hear noises, you may experience hallucinations, but you're not quite asleep because you still can you can still direct your attention. And if a person has something they wish for in life, or they want to say a prayer or visualize, do it then. And you don't have to go through any great effort, because we all go through that naturally twice a day. Again, just as you're drifting to sleep and just as you're coming to in the morning. And in many respects, that's a time of self-hypnosis in a way.
Wow.
Wonder what is that practice for eternal? Like, I wonder if that's just like that state of being is like, because one day we'll be in that state. So it's like,
oh yeah,
for your energy to be up.
I dig it.
You're going into astral projection.
Yeah, I got to work more with that. I have not. That's going to be next on the journey. Have you worked with that
Yeah, on accident because
on accident?
it happens in the morning. I learned you have to kind of wake up and then go back to sleep because you need a little bit of cortisol in your system, so you need to be half awake and half asleep. And then if your body's tired enough, you'll just go into like a dream state that you're conscious of. But you're definitely dreaming, but you're aware that you're dreaming. But everything looks so real. Like for me, it was happening so real, and I knew I was dreaming. I'm like, I need to remember this when I wake up. This is incredible. Like I'm out of body right now. And then you get really used to going into out of body. You know what I mean? There's kind of a feeling like, oh, it's happening again. I'm drifting down. And it always happens in the morning, usually because you have an empty stomach. You know what I mean? No food in your system. And there's so much information out there to go further. You can learn about astral projection, but it's the most incredible thing in the world. But for me, I always love the floating sensation. So there's a floating sensation you immediately go into. And, some people have gone into deeper realms and learned stuff and talked to people. I haven't gotten that deep yet. I just love the floating part. But it's the realest, most blissful feeling ever that kind of makes you not afraid of death. Do you know what I mean? Because I've done shrooms. I've done plenty of psilocybin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never messed with acid, but plenty of weed, plenty of cannabis, the heavy stuff, and I feel like that's opened a lot of doors. But once I quit that, you know what I mean? 'Cause I barely smoke now. Once I quit that, the dreams become way more vivid. And then that's when you start to really enjoy the dream state as far as, going into astral projection. There's different levels apparently. But I've reached the second level to where you're floating, you're flying, going back and forth. You're flying backwards. And it's very similar to the Doctor Strange scene. You've seen Doctor Strange when he...
Oh, yeah.
And he's flying and stuff. That is like basically just exactly... It could be a DMT trip in some perspectives, but it's also a basic astral projection kind of thing that everyone can experience at one point or another, as long as... Because I kind of experiment with like a low-calorie intake. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll do some fasting, and the dreams are way more vivid that way. You gotta have an empty stomach.
Is that right?
Crazy thing, but there's a lot of information about it online. I'd go back and forth talking to AI about these kinds of things. You know what I mean? That's why I'm so into it. But yeah, it's very interesting to look into that astral projections. I've had conversations with people who had distinct faces. I've never seen them in real life, but I've seen them in the astral world. And
you think you was
full-on conversations?
Abducted?
No, but I think abductions are a form of astral projection. Yeah, I know there's other realities you can visit.
No, because you said you saw faces.
I saw distinct faces.
And you had conversations.
Yeah, full-on
and
conversations.
your astral projection.
In the astral world, yeah, I went through this flying state, and I was talking to this Asian person, and I was telling him so much like, "Whoa, that was crazy! I was flying backwards. I know I'm dreaming. This is crazy." And he's like, "Calm down, relax. You're on top of my desk." And I look, and I'm like, I'm on top of this guy's desk, and I'm like, whoa, I have to calm down. I speak the same way I speak now is how I talk in the astral world. I'm the same person, but I'm very excited in the dream about it and everything. And they're always telling me to calm down.
What you think that light is? The light that lights up in that astral world that you're able to have vision, and it's not black like conscious when you first close your mind. When you close your eyelids. And you go into darkness, you slip into a light. The light, you can be able to visualize yourself and see yourself. That realm of a light, what do you think that is?
Wow, that's a heavy question.
It's like a TV that comes on in your dark state, and it's like you see images and everything is lit up. Like as soon as you close your eyes, the darkness, and all of a sudden light comes.
Well, what makes our brains work is really light. It's electrical impulses that travel in our brains. So I always think of that seems to me the force that makes us alive. AD, I had a question
like that.
for you.
Yeah.
That's
when
dope.
you do astral projection, you said that reducing calories helps, maybe sobriety helps. Is there any other things that set the stage for astral projection?
So yeah, that's just based on my accidental, because I'm never doing it on purpose. You know what I mean? But like it would happen accidentally on a night that I would eat less calories. You know what I mean? But usually when they say to not eat close to sleep because it'll affect how you sleep. You know what I mean? The whole goal is to get to REM sleep. So REM sleep is where all the lucid dreaming is happening and possible astral projections. So you want to get to that level of sleep. I experiment with magnesium glycinate. I don't know if you're familiar with but it's like I get the droppers. It's like a tincture.
Yeah.
A couple drops under the tongue. Magnesium. Mostly everyone's deficient in magnesium. Besides potassium and stuff like that. But magnesium, you get that nice deep sleep. And if you can get to that level, because when we're awake, or I even have it on screen already. When we're awake, we're in that beta state. And then when we're relaxed, we're in alpha. And then we're in theta state.
That's it. You got it right there. Hypnagogia. Yeah.
Deep meditation.
Wow. Fantastic.
Oh, dude, I talk to AI every single day. Me and AI have full-on conversations. I'm crazy. And then delta is the deep state. Most of us hit delta sleep every night. But if you can get yourself to REM sleep, and there's other ways to do it, make sure you don't eat too close to bed, don't have a heavy meal, don't be eating beans before bed.
Right.
REM sleep, lucid dreaming, and possible astral projection. You get to this spot.
What about daydreaming?
Daydreaming would probably be way up here in your theta. I would assume. But like there's levels, obviously. This is all scientific stuff to get to, you know what I mean? But this is where it gets into, it's going to be different for everybody. But you can shift your awareness and all that stuff. But as far as other tips, I just know that you kind of have to wake up. So the reason why I usually have to wake up is because I have to feed my cat. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
The cat wants you
The
back.
cat wakes me up. I give him
heavy.
chicken and fish, but sometimes he eats the fish and wants more fish. So I wake up, I feed the cat, use the restroom, go back to sleep. I already know, oh man, I already have some cortisol. My body thinks it's time to wake up, go back to sleep. And then once you have that half awake feeling, you jump back into REM sleep, which is weird. And then that's when I
REM once again.
REM
Pull it
sleep.
up.
Rapid eye movement. It's when your eyes are kind of moving all around.
Right.
Like but yeah, that's just my personal experience on it.
Okay.
So much information is online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much.
It's funny. I was cracking up because here at home, the pot man is named AI, the pot dealer. So I'm always like, I gotta call AI. We constantly get confused in the household. Yeah.
And I go by AD. It's so funny.
Oh man.
I call my AI Jarvis because I'm a huge Iron Man fan.
Oh,
Come on, Mike.
sweet.
Off for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, so I call my AI Jarvis because basically AI is kind of like Jarvis, but I go back and forth having full-on conversations, and I learned about the chaos magic through it and everything. You know what I mean? So like.
And which AI do you use?
I use ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
I've
been using Grok.
Oh, okay. Is that a better one?
I don't know. I don't have anything to compare it to, but it does pretty well, and I kind of appreciate it because magical topics and parapsychological topics it takes very seriously, so it helps me.
Interesting. I see it right now. I have to ask it about it. Go ahead.
Yo, look, scientists just found a new city under the pyramids.
Oh yes, yeah, I've been reading about this.
Yeah, it's all in the
imaging.
Yeah,
right?
the imagery right here, yo. The Starks just told me that.
Yo, Salam, yeah.
That's funny. He's Tony Starks.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Iron Man.
That's crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah, check that out, because he was acting like this. It was a spiral staircase, like going all the way down, like Ron stoned out. Like, yo,
Yes.
the nigga was, the nigga on the radio was acting like they got it's like they got their own planes and everything down there.
That's crazy.
Like, you know what I mean?
Look it up,
Like,
AD.
but I heard that before about the aliens in the water. Like, everybody be looking forward to being in the space. They was acting like, yo, it was in the water. Like, I'm hearing everything, like both. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yo, pull it. He will pull it up right now. A whole city.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yo.
All right, so just get back at me then.
All right, peace.
Yeah. That's going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
This question
that was
of a whole...
Ghostface Killah, my man.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that right? Excellent.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about I do not know the man, and I'm honored that he would call.
Right.
There's a comic book author, Doug Monk, who's a
Right.
friend, and Doug Monk was telling a story that he said Ghostface Killer. He was told Ghostface Killer wanted to meet him, And Doug is a very practical man, and he said, "Why would Ghostface Killer want to meet me?" And the answer came back, because Master of Kung Fu kicked out the gems, and Doug was the writer of that book back in the day. So, yeah, yeah.
Yo, Mitch, you doing it up. You bringing good energy, yo. Yo, you bringing it, yo.
I love it.
Now they just discovered the whole city under the pyramids. I told
Crazy.
you they was not finished yet.
And he called you
Right.
now.
Yeah,
Nothing is by accident.
Right.
they're not finished.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's not done. It's not done. Earth got some more to reveal after
And
this
Mercury
one.
is still retrograde. And we're getting this type of
That's
syncretism.
crazy.
I mean, synchronicity.
And the day Jordan
Yeah.
Maxwell, the Mitch comes on, Jordan
man.
Transcended. And also we put out Black Market Militia on his day. Me, Tragedy, Gaddafi, Hellraiser, Timbo King. And Jordan, we call him John Wills Booth, my man Booth. Yo, could you pull up that real quick? I just want to see the underground. Do you mind,
Yeah.
Mitch?
Oh, please, go ahead, man.
If I see the underground city,
Yeah.
and then they just discovered that this is real, in real time. What is that, AD?
I'm not sure what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, you got to go to image. I don't know what that's cartoons.
But notice
again.
there's coils
Yeah,
below. And we know the power of vortex energy.
Right.
So, and then we know that the shape of the pyramid is a technology in its own.
No, but you got to go to the real thing, like the
There's this.
That's beautiful.
There's a huge
Yeah.
Mayan city with pyramids. No?
that's still a drawing. No, he said that's mine.
Ancient
Okay.
I looked up city found under pyramids.
Yeah, today, like I guess.
Let
Yeah,
me
yeah. if y'all
click
can
on
pull it.
news. Here we go.
Yeah.
12 hours ago. Vast
Right.
underground city.
Wow.
Hold on.
So it's on the news right now. Mitch, what you doing? Hold up. Crazy. That's crazy right there.
This is such an amazing. I mean, it's weird, right? There's all this tragedy in our world, and there's all this discovery, best of times, worst of times,
Yeah.
and it's just incredible because we have sonar images, sound wave images of an undiscovered Egyptian city, and even here in our own continent, there are Mayan cities that are overgrown with jungle foliage that have not been excavated yet. We're going to understand that the ancients had a much larger footprint, across the globe than we have been led to realize. I think the whole thing is just incredible. And I guess it's fitting for Mercury retrograde, because dig it, like Mercury retrograde is in Aries, and Aries was regarded by the ancient Mesopotamians as the sign of spring, the sign of new beginnings. And it's almost like we're dialing back to a new beginning. We're realizing that the ancients created more across this globe than we've been able to understand. And who knows what we're going to find within a year or two. Oh, there's the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mojito.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. It's an amazing time to be alive, and I say that with sorrow, because there's so many people suffering, and I hate it. But there are other things happening too, and there's so much energy being unleashed. It's just incredible. Just incredible.
We're in some crazy times right now.
Yeah, yeah.
The stock said, "What up, yo?" He's texting me right now. He said it's on the news channel.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Which one?
Let me see.
Because I don't trust CNN.
Why not, man?
I don't want to go there now, but
Is this starting your flat Earth?
no. That's
Or
another.
are they against your flat
That's another topic. We'll save that for another day.
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday.
Right.
Thor Day.
Thursday.
Thursday.
God of Thunder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why,
Thor, Jupiter.
Why they call it Thor though? Why Thor?
That's just the Greek name, but he
Yeah.
represents Jupiter,
Yeah.
the thunderous.
Another Marvel great,
Mhm.
I was very dedicated to Marvel when I was a kid, and then I started reading DC, and my best friend didn't want to talk to me anymore. We worked it out.
Right.
But it's so interesting, I mean, look at the superheroes: Thor, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange. It's all occult, it's all these archetypes. I don't know. Everything goes back to myth. Everything goes back to the ancients. It's
Yeah,
just
the mythos.
incredible. Sometimes I wish in school kids could understand that if you're taking a math course, for example, okay, maybe it's not going to seem that interesting to you, but the fact is, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Mesopotamians, the ancient Persians, they saw math as a kind of secret code that was unlocking the universe. And if we could just bring back some of the drama into it, just bring back some of the drama, explain to the kids, that what we call like the golden ratio is a formula that appears throughout nature. Ah, there's our man.
Mm.
Shiva.
Wow.
Shiva the
That's hard.
Destroyer.
And
Yeah.
look, he's doing a mudra right here. That's a
Yeah,
mudra.
yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Works.
Yeah. I Doctor Strange was my favorite as a kid. Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange was everything for me.
Mm.
And Steve, who's now dead, I was told that he turned down money from both the Spider-Man and the Doctor Strange films because he didn't really believe in them, and he was just that kind of a person. And he was a very mysterious guy. He worked in a studio in Times Square, not far from where I lived. I tried to interview him, but his publisher said to me something like, "Steve cannot possibly talk to you." And they were sort of rude about it, but rude was their form of affection, so you had to just deal with it.
Mhm.
But you're bringing back
New
a lot of good
Yorkers.
memories. New Yorkers are too rude. I want to live in LA, actually. People are nicer, it's a fact.
No.
We talk about moving to LA all the time. My partner Jacqueline is a filmmaker.
I'm a New Yorker, man.
You're a New Yorker, but you're in LA, are you not?
Yeah, I'm out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't beat the
'Cause you're-
weather with
You're a friendly New Yorker.
You just gotta know when they're busting. You gotta know when they're busting your balls.
native.
Yeah. And AD, where are you? Are you in New York or?
I'm in LA right here, man. I'm by LA.
You're in LA. So you guys are lucky. I
I'm
grew
on
up in New
West
York my
Coast.
whole life. I mean, I love New York. I grew up in Queens, and
Man.
New York is home, but LA feels kind of like a deeper home. I
live
like
out
about
there,
it.
so don't go there. Yeah. It's a lot
I
of
love
good
it.
things in the beautiful weather, man. I never seen weather like this before in my life. The best.
There's a lot of people who said to me, David Lynch died recently, and he said that he thought in LA the weather he said, you wake up in the morning and the weather gives you a feeling that you could do what you intend to do. It's something in this weather that feeds people's sense of agency and selfhood. And I think that's really true.
Then they smoke weed and sit back.
And they smoke weed. That man smoked a lot of cigarettes, I can say that. But he did a lot of meditation too. Very beautiful man. I'm sorry he's gone.
Meditation.
Yeah. Transcendental meditation, which I practice and I find very helpful. It's a sound. You just repeat a sound within your head. Very relaxing. Very relaxing. And
what? Tell me a little bit more about that.
well, transcendental meditation, it was brought to America around 1959 by the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, very beautiful man who's now dead. And really what the Maharishi taught was a very ancient system from Hindu practice where you receive a mantra. It's just like a sound, like Om, for example. But it's very specific to your individual persona. You receive this sound, you keep it to yourself, it's not something to share, and you just silently repeat it within twice a day for approximately 20 minutes. And the effect is incredibly relaxing, and it's very beautiful. And one of the things I think your listeners should know is that the David Lynch Foundation, which you could find in LA, which you could find in New York, they will teach transcendental meditation for free to anybody who is a first responder or any veteran, anybody suffering from PTSD. So you can find them online. David Lynch Foundation. David dedicated a lot of his life to it.
Wow.
And people can check this out, and they can use this. And this is something that is available for free for veterans or sufferers from PTSD or what have you, and it can really make a big difference. It's so simple. Again, there I go. But my thing is, I want simple things, in people's hands. And transcendental meditation is one of them. You just go to David Lynch Foundation, put it into the search window. You can find it in any town, any city, and they'll help out.
Man, try that, man. I'm gonna try some of that. How much more time you got?
I'm yours.
All right,
we're
just cooking. We just cooking.
I'm all here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I was reading something you said about computers.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, this sounds crazy.
Now this is wild. The quantum computing.
Yeah, there you go. Quantum computing.
You want to hear
about
something?
that? Yeah, tell us about this. Hold on to your seats once again. The quantum computer.
Okay, I'll see how I can put this. All right. Okay, so Google has a quantum computing model called Willow, and they haven't yet released it to the public. It's still being tested. And the whole principle of quantum computing is that it can operate at unbelievable speeds, like nothing we've seen before. So Google Engineering puts out a statement late last year, and they say that they gave Willow a math equation to solve that was so complicated that according to their estimates, it would have taken 10 septillion years, which is longer than the life of the universe. Longer than the life of the universe. And Willow solved this equation in under 5 minutes. It's impossible because it takes longer to solve than all of recorded and projected time. And the engineers remarked almost casually, that this may support the idea that we humans live in a multiverse and that the computer was plucking the information from some other dimension of reality, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, because there's not enough time in the universe, literally, to solve this math problem, and yet there's the solution. So where does it come from? How did it happen? And what's crazy is these engineers, they're not looking for something metaphysical. They're not looking for this information. It just occurs. And evidence that is not being sought is, to my mind, evidence that's most convincing. So when people are coming up with things that they're not looking for, but they're saying, look, there it is, it's just incredible. And this whole question of a multiverse, I think that it's almost a logical necessity that we live in a multiverse where everything is happening all at once. And again, it's what the ancient Egyptians taught, that time is a circular spiral. It's all going on at once. And I think our generation is I think we're poised on a whole new conception of humanity because these things are as real as it gets. And this computer program, Willow, hasn't even been released to the public yet. And I mean, what's coming in 12 months? Who could say? It's really incredible. It's incredible.
Somebody asked me, shout out to Solar Facts. He said, do you remember what the problem was?
Oh, I couldn't even begin to represent what the problem was. I mean, Mrs. Koshel, back in high school didn't include that in our class. I can tell you. I don't recall what the problem was, but I will promise you that if you put Google's statement on Willow or something like that into the search window, you can find the statement, and there'll be some more information about the problem, and it's not difficult to find. And I write about it in the book too. But it's and I've been hearing these things from different people, and I mean, dig this. I mean, and that this goes back a few years, but Bank of America in 2016 released a report to its investors, and in the report, they remarked casually, "Oh, by the way, there's a 20 to 50% chance that we live in a computer simulation." And it's kind of like, that's what you're casually dropping into your report to your investors.
Right.
But the argument is so convincing. It's so convincing. and we as a human community, we haven't caught up with it yet. So there's that too, this whole question of assimilation. Lately, just recently, I think it was over the past week, there were some images from the James Webb Telescope of other galaxies. And what was discovered is that most galaxies that we've been able to photograph move in an opposite direction from ours. Ours moves in a counterclockwise spiral. Most galaxies are moving in a clockwise spiral. And that's weird because it's an anomaly. Like, why would it be? And so one of the head engineers, one of the head researchers at the James Webb Telescope just published a paper. He said, one reason for it could be that our galaxy sits inside of an immense black hole, that we live in a black hole. And this is very, very possible. And I just posted about it on Twitter and on Instagram late last night, about 3 a.m. And we're just discovering things. I can't even tell you the lid that seems to be coming off our world right now. Ancient Egyptian cities, multiverse. We may live in a black hole. These are weird times.
Is the universe what the universe is trying to tell us? It's trying to tell us something. The last time this happened, COVID came afterwards, but I think that was something else. But now it's speaking. It's like we're finding. It's like the new AI or we're finding cities, like discovering mushrooms, you know what I mean? It's like,
we're in the age of information now. The age of Aquarius is all about discovering.
Boom.
This is probably just the beginning of what we're about to learn. 2 years, 3 years from now, it's about to get crazy.
Yeah. Man.
Have you seen part 2 of The Matrix with the Merovingian?
French?
Oh, I don't think I've seen. That's a still up on the screen. I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
You got to see that because he speaks a lot about how we have a choice. Speaks about our choices and stuff like that, and how choice is an illusion. How everything is a program. But it kind of correlates to what you're talking about too, with the idea of a multiverse. Because if we make a certain choice, it would be a certain path.
Yes.
But if we made a different choice, it would have been a whole different path.
Right.
But the question is, it's like in part 1 also they talk about like if he had dropped the vase, was that inevitable? If some stuff is inevitable, do you know what I mean? So like it's kind of mind-boggling, but it's interesting to see the idea if our choices are really an illusion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if we're in a computer system.
Yes.
If we're in a simulation.
Sometimes I play like a game with myself where I'll be waiting on the subway platform and the train comes and it's just like a little simple decision. Do I go in that car or do I go in that car? But it will totally change my life, which decision I make, if I really have a decision. But, and we'll never know, we'll never know how our life would be different if we just went in the other door. But chaos theory tells us that it's just logic. You wrinkle something a little different, everything changes. So I have to see that. And people sometimes use the term manifest. I use the term select, based on what you're describing. If we live in a multiverse, and it seems that we definitely do, it could be that we localize experiences through our perspective, which is why I tell people to be very free with themselves about determining their wish, because that perspective and that passion could be by itself an act of selection, and that selection, I mean, who knows, it could work out very happily, it could work out very tragically. It's not ours to know, but I think we have to kind of take the chance, because if we don't take the chance, then we wind up just complaining to the therapist about how depressed we are. I think that fuels a lot of depression when people don't take that chance.
Yeah. I think the conversation that we're having in the first place is what changes everything. Because we're watching ourselves now. Now we're being self-analytical. Instead of just being pawns, just going through life, eating, consuming, watching, we're not paying attention on the inside. Now that we're like having these podcasts, people are having discussions, they're starting to relook at what they're doing, and they're looking inward. That correlates with the double slit experiment. Remember this?
Boom. Yeah.
Because the electrons are doing one thing going all the way through, right? But as soon as they notice themselves being analyzed, their behavior changes.
Yes.
So that's in the microcosm. Within ourselves, if as soon as we start analyzing ourselves and taking a look and reviewing ourselves, now all of our electrons are going to behave differently.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And I think that's kind of correlates with the red pill, blue pill. You know what I mean? Escaping the matrix to the point where in this double slit experiment, you're now self-analytical. You're now paying attention to yourself, and the deeper version of that would be meditation and using chaos magic and using the power of your mind to be self-aware.
Can you break down chaos magic?
Oh yeah. Well, like I think that if you change one element of your surroundings, like let's say you introduce some little piece of exotic matter, like a sigil, for example, one element in your surroundings, and everything changes dramatically. Now, and I think it relates to what AD was just talking about with the double slit experiment, because physicists have found that a particle, a subatomic particle, will be in a state of superposition, a wave state, until someone takes a measurement. And only when a measurement is taken, oh, there's the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, this is freaky.
Yeah.
I thought AD was in a different
Yeah.
room from you. And I'm like, wow, there's Schrodinger's cat.
It's all an illusion.
Yo.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we zone it. Yeah, that's crazy, right?
You selected the cat.
Wasn't that
so-
the cat in the Matrix?
Yeah.
That do everything else? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one
Yeah,
that turned Dr. Fury's eye out. Scratched him.
That's right. And
It's on the
so dig it.
battery. Ever ready?
Like here's the Schrodinger's cat experiment. You know, like okay, subatomic particles are in a wave state or a state of superposition. They're everywhere at once until a measurement is taken, and only when the measurement is taken does the particle localize as one sure thing in one sure place. So in the 1930s, the physicist Erwin Schrödinger proposed a thought experiment called Schrödinger's cat. And he said, what if you took a cat and you put a collar on the cat that had like a poisonous device on the collar, and the poison would get tripped if it was exposed to a single atom. And then you have two boxes, and you put the cat into one of the boxes, and then you fire an atom at the two boxes. And he said, then you go to check on the cat. Will the cat be alive or will the cat be dead? Now, common sense tells us, well, if the atom went into the box with the cat, it would trip the poisonous device and the cat will be dead. If the atom went into the box without the cat, then there's no problem and the cat will be alive. That's common sense. And Schrödinger said exactly wrong. The cat is both dead and alive because at one point, when the atom was in a state of superposition, until you checked, it was in both boxes. So you would have to account for a dead alive cat. And we say to ourselves, but that's impossible. That's the multiverse. That's the multiverse. Not only is it possible, it's necessary. It's necessary. And it blows people's minds because, of course, we say to ourselves, well, look, I've got a coffee cup here. There's just one cup, right? There's not an infinity of cups. But it's not reality. It's not reality. And it's such a trip. And the usefulness of this to the individual, it seems to me, is that in a laboratory, we see reality because we're measuring things with very fine instruments. But what else are our senses? Taste, touch, smell, than instruments of measurement, biological instruments of measurement. I sense perspective, I sense sound, I sense speed. Can we not use those senses, the perspective that we've been given, to select things and localize them? That's where this positive thinking stuff starts to get much deeper and starts to seem possibly very radical and very effective. It's an amazing world. It's all coming together. And again, I feel badly saying that because there's so many people suffering, and I hate it. I hate the wars. But there are things happening that that help us see ourselves as greater beings, it seems to me.
I don't even know what's happening right now. I mean, we on another level.
Real
Peak.
quick, wouldn't you agree we're being constantly shot at with Magick, with the marketing and the commercials that are on TV? It's all
Hollywood.
It's all programming. It's all Hollywood. It's all kind of, in some way, in putting out magic on us.
I agree. Yeah. I have a friend who's an experimental filmmaker in Britain, Stephen Snitchner, and he made a remake of Snow White with a blank screen. There's no action on the screen. He was just showing it here in New York. People got up and walked out. They were pissed off. But he's trying to make a statement.
Wow.
I liked it. I dug it. But yeah, I think we get bombarded with stuff. It's so hard. Yeah. I mean, I'm part of it. I'm online shopping, buying stuff constantly.
Yeah.
I think the reviews that we're seeing on Amazon and stuff, I suspect they're harvesting our data, and like I may not be seeing the same reviews that another person sees because the coincidences are just getting too weird, and I think we're all seeing a different internet, which kind of concerns me.
We're seeing algorithms created by AI now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they tell AI, make an algorithm to where every time this person goes to an Amazon product, it correlates with stuff they've already purchased. And speak to them in a language that they already speak in.
Yes, that is happening.
Because the computers already know how we talk. It knows how we text. It's analyzing our keystrokes. And we've allowed them to.
Yes.
Especially if you have TikTok. You've given them full permission to do everything.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
I've found, and I know a lot of people talk about this, that here at home, if we're talking about something, like if we're talking about cats, for example, I'll start seeing ads for cat food, completely out of the clear blue on my Instagram feed.
Wow.
It happens, and it's spooky because I might just be having a discussion. I might be talking to one of my kids about like he wants a certain set of steak knives, and we're just talking about it.
Yeah.
And then the thing starts showing up. So what is that? Is that Alexa listening in? What is that my phone listening in?
So
it seems to be occurring.
There's a thing they're talking about now to where it's not just what you're speaking, it's your thoughts now. I know it's far-fetched. Embodiment Celestial was posting about that on Instagram, how it can read your thoughts now. I'm not sure what phone or iPhone it is, but if you think something enough, because we're talking about brainwaves. Remember, we're talking about what your thoughts have that much power.
That's crazy.
They have the technology now where your phone can pick up on that.
Yeah.
And like and you can give it a shot. Just think Nike shoes, Nike shoes, Nike shoes. I know I said it out loud. But still, like if you experiment with that, supposedly, that's the conspiracy right now, is that the phones can pick up thoughts, and that's why you'll be thinking of something. You go on your phone and boom, there it is. I was just thinking about that. It's creepy.
Yeah.
So we're going to evolve to something else then. But,
go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, so we're going to evolve deeper too. If that's the iPhone 10, we're going to go to the, to the human 12. Human mind 12. I mean, it has to meet up at some point.
Transhumanism.
It's going to be deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Remember Lucy? Have you seen Lucy?
I'll start riding the broom again. Huh?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Lucy kind of turned into a computer herself.
That was my joy.
I like movies like that, like Limitless.
Yeah, Limitless.
Yeah.
Which is based on neurotropics. Exists.
Have you guys seen the movie? There's a horror movie called Companion, starring Sophie Thatcher. She plays like a sex robot. She doesn't know she's a robot. So when she learns she's a robot, it's rather upsetting. And I thought to myself, it's in every movie that's popular, it seems to me, people are realizing that they're living in a fake world, whether it's Barbie or, whatever. And, Barbie is getting along just fine. And then she begins thinking about death. And suddenly her entire world begins to come apart. And it's significant to me because like that movie showed in Saudi Arabia, it showed in China, and everybody got it. China is an officially atheistic society. Saudi is a very conservative religious society, and yet
Mm.
we all got it. We're all having the same exact experience, you know, that this is not the real world that we're living in. There's something else going on. And it's pretty amazing. In America, China, Saudi, very different societies, but we all get it. We're all like, yep, I recognize that. So something's cooking.
I got my plate.
We're getting chats asking if you can explain the Mandela effect.
Oh, that's wild. It's kind of relates to what we're talking about. You know, people, we have memories of the past,
Mm.
like of pop culture, and they're different memories, and it's absolutely wild. And I mean, I've tested this with friends, and I have dramatically different memories of how things are spelled. And I know everybody can say, oh, it's, you know, it's cognitive bias or what have you, but we don't know that. You know, we don't know that. We have members of the population walking around, and it suggests that we are experiencing as individuals different realities, and it just pops up through experiences that we think are shared experiences, but we have completely different recollections of what happened. And I find that, you know, sometimes around pop culture, it can be something really simple like a name, but it shows up. It's like a glitch in the matrix. It shows up because it's supposed to be a common memory. It's supposed to be a common memory that we all share, only it's different and it's freaky, and we're not really living in the same universe. We crisscross one another in the same universe. It's like, how you doing? But we're not really living in the same universe. Seems to me.
That's crazy. Parallel.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Loki series where they talk about Nexus events and the multiverse?
I haven't, and I got to.
Oh, dude.
That's the mini series.
Yeah.
With character.
You
I
know,
got to.
That whole series is a must for
Okay.
all the Marvel fans because
Done.
it correlates with Deadpool and Wolverine with some of the characters in there. You have to see the Loki series, man.
You know, I want to tell you something crazy, and
Go ahead.
this is going to weird you out. March 20th was my 6th anniversary with my partner Jacqueline Castell. For an anniversary present, she bought me a statue of Loki from Germany from
Oh,
the
wow.
early 20th century. Yeah, it's sitting upstairs, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Here we are talking about Loki.
yeah,
Oh,
Next,
mean-
you'll start seeing ads pop up for Loki. You know.
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these writers have to know about this magic. A lot of the writers from Marvel and even Grant Morrison knew about sigil magic, and he's a comic book writer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They know about
Yeah.
that stuff, so they're no doubt using it in their portrayals.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
The S on Superman is not an S; it means hope, right?
mm.
Yeah.
That's a sigil.
That's hard.
It's a sigil.
Bring it up.
Superman's, logo is a sigil. It's not an S. It means hope, but that's a sigil
Yes.
in a way,
I
and
dig it.
it's a powerful symbol. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, there's so many ways that's happening already all around us. Just you're able to point it out. And,
It's a mythical world.
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to think that our world was like Star Wars, but now I feel like it's more like Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With so
Sometimes.
much, yeah,
What's that?
with evidence of giants and dwarfs that we have, and
Yeah, yeah. I just don't want it to wind up like The Road. Did you guys see The Road? or
no,
read
it's
the-
not.
Mm.
It's too painful. It's a post-apocalyptic book by Cormac McCarthy, who died recently, and it's a very good movie and it's a very good book, but it's too depressing. If any of your listeners have seen it, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's agony. That's exactly where I don't want us to go.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, right, right.
That's crazy, man. I'm enlightened, man. This is a great conversation.
I appreciate it.
We need to-
and I want.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, I said we need to have more conversations like this, man. Definitely want you to come back.
I would
And,
dig it.
Yeah, man. And you cool too.
Yeah.
Man, cool, man. John Newsom, man. I want to thank him so much too, man.
Same.
This is heavy. This has been a trip. Like I'm really like right now. I'm just like absorbing all of it, taking it all in, man.
Yeah.
We
Massive
need
thanks
to
to
do the
John.
magic. I'm not gonna.
What's that?
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Well, we need to step up our magic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll
The
talk.
connections are funny. You know, when I was a little kid, when I was 17 years old, I saw the band Black Flag for the first time, and I got the Black Flag bars
Oh wow.
tattooed on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make Mom very happy, but yeah. And so John Newsom, great artist, beautiful man. He partners with Raymond Pettibon, who designed the Black Flag bars, among so much else.
Right.
And they came to me and said, "Hey, we have this exhibit opening. Would you like to write the catalog essay for it?" And I was like, "Would I? There's nothing else on earth that I want more than that." And so John introduces us, and boom, magic happens there, and it all starts, just like a rainy night when I'm 17. I see Black Flag, and
Wow.
here we are, many, many, many decades later, and it's crazy. But John Newsom is such a wonderful man, wonderful artist. I love the work he's done with you, and I'm so grateful to him.
I mean, every one of John Newsom's art paintings is magic also.
Yes,
Couldn't you consider that a giant sigil? It's a very
Absolutely.
elaborate sigil.
Yeah.
But his artwork is magic.
Right.
Now,
I'm looking
can
at
we
this
go
shit.
as far as to say, if Priest makes a song is full of words, song is full of sounds, that's magic.
Oh, man.
Definitely.
Forrest,
Definitely.
what he did with Forrest was incredible. And then going to his gallery and seeing all of that.
Because everyone's
Yeah,
impacted in a different way
Yeah.
by music.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Animals, music.
Yeah, they're inspired by it. It
Mhm.
affects their day. It affects their moment. It affects some of their decisions that they're making.
Instruments of measurement.
Yeah, that's right. And it saves lives because they feel not alone. People are so lonely and depressed, even when they're surrounded by people, but they hear a song like yours and they're like, "Oh, someone else gets it. I'm not alone."
Wow.
It means a lot.
That's it.
We have a counter here that shows us how many people are watching,
Mhm.
and it says 222.
Okay, cool.
When you see 222, or when you see 1111, when you see 33, and you see these angel numbers, a lot
Yeah,
of
you
people
just said
start
it.
seeing them
What was
constantly.
that you said? 33?
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that another evidence of living in a simulation? Because you're now in sync with these double numbers, 22, 33, 1111.
11:11 is a big number in this house. We stop and pray when the clock hits 11:11.
Wow.
Assuming
Angel
we're
numbers.
awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's very.
that prayer is also sending out energy into the universe.
That's my wish. Definitely. Yeah. Everything. You're right. Everything is a sigil. I got, everything on here, is a sigil. And it makes people feel a sense of connection, and it heightens their powers and their potentialities. I want people to use these things. The individual makes his own sigil. Priest makes a song, John makes a painting, but the individual can just write down a wish. And that's a sigil. And it can be charged, and it can be very powerful. I really believe people can change their lives with these very small things. It has happened to me. I was not a happy camper when I was a kid. I was very depressed. Not depressed, anxious.
Man.
And, when I was 12, I got hospitalized in a ward with kids who had committed suicide and stuff because I was suffering from a lot of anxiety. I never thought I would be happy.
Yeah.
And magic helped a lot. It really helped a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a fast city, man. A lot of New Yorkers suffer from that because it's so fast. Everything's quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
madness.
crazy. Yeah. This is madness. Well, with that, man, I'm going to have to, because I got to get up out of here, man. We can speak all night. But, yo, you've been a great guest. This has been incredible.
Thank you, man.
And, man, ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Horowitz, man, this is incredible.
I want to end it with
you.
one thing, though.
Go ahead.
Because, I know there's mixed reviews in the chat room. There's mixed reviews when people watch this stuff. You know what I mean? Because I think everyone just is confused about what's being talked about. But they have to understand that it's all one thing. So I have this one thing on screen I'm going to bring up right here. It's called spiritualists call it manifestation. Christians call it prayer. Atheists call it the placebo effect. Alchemists call it alchemy. Wizards call it magic. I like the wizards because magic is cool, you know. Doctors call it a miracle. And scientists call it quantum physics. Everyone is arguing over its name. No one is denying its existence.
That's
it.
a bomb. That's bomb.
I just want to end it with that.
I dig it. I love it.
Right?
That's terrific.
Boom.
Yeah, I love it.
But thank you so much. I really enjoyed the part about future thinking.
No, that was great, man.
Retrocausality.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna get into that. Yeah, retro.
Yeah, it's right there. No, I really this time melted away, and Priest and AD, and appreciate it so much. You create such a space for people to search, and there's greatness in that. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, y'all. Thanks. Okay.
Nice.
John, it's a big one, man. Shout out to Jay. Just Jay, man. This is definitely enlightening, man. I'm on so many levels. We gotta just start doing. Stop talking. And you know, like you said, man. We got his book information, right? You got his book.
Yeah, we're gonna put all the information in the description after this.
Yeah, man. That was different.
Great.
Different, man. Great,
I feel like we could go
man.
on and on, like hours and hours, man.
I know. And you know, I'm ready to do that.
I love this topic,
Well,
man.
you know.
We don't get too many subjects like this popping up on the show.
Yeah. Well, we got him now. He's gonna come back.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Oh,
It's
he's still there in the ether realm. Yeah.
I'm listening in.
Man.
Yeah.
That
I
was-
would love to. And
Hey, what
much
about your
love to-
book? When is your book coming out, real quick?
The book is coming out Tuesday. This
Yeah.
is Practical Magic. It's going to be
Let me see the cover again. That
Oh,
cover is
yeah.
dope. You pull that up.
yeah.
Nice.
Tom McKevney designed that cover.
Wow.
Very good designer.
Mhm.
Love him. And so the book is out. It's going to be out in digital, physical, and audio. I narrate the audio, and it goes on sale Tuesday, the 25th.
Fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Might have to pick that up.
I'm going to be sending you guys copies. I'll be sending you guys
Hey.
signed copies. And to
Oh.
John.
Hey.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Thank
can't
you.
wait.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you all so much.
I'm gonna draw a sigil after
appreciate it.
this.
Yeah, that's-
Sweet. Let's do it. Yeah.
No, that was great, man. That was great.
Nice.
That was great. All right, man. Yeah, man, you can stick around. We're just gonna go to music right now. Go to our music.
Yeah. Did you want me? You have to go somewhere? Did you want me to handle the music song promotion?
Yeah.
segment?
I gotta leave a little early today.
Okay.
I gotta handle something.
Yeah.
Podcraft, y'all was great, but I'm in creation mode right now, and I want to shout you out. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna get out here a little early. So AD, you gonna handle?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick video break
Okay.
so I can use the restroom and then come back and start the song promotion.
All right. You gonna stick around, Mitch?
Yeah, I'm going to stick around.
All right. Yo, just bring him out.
Yeah.
Bring him out.
We'll do.
All right, y'all. Peace. Yo.
All right.
Let's go.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, unplug me.
We're going to commercial break. Here we go.
The stoic silence of the oldest island begin to thaw, replaced by a growing comfort from endless wars. A sense of openness from the hopelessness of night terrors and war-torn. A culture hit on the tree of roots, go down to hell, a vulture sits. Its fruits are strange. Comfort is the enemy of change. That's Buddha slain. Ostentatious displays of masculinity, master identity, clashes of chemistry, acts to ministry. They found ossuaries where Yasha was buried. Yale and Oxford is wealthy. That's where it's held in box with the Steelies. Sensation-seeking journalists, selfish collectors, thieves and lit professors. Search for leads to hidden treasures. Forbidden fruit that Adam and Eve bitten together. Seductive promise, corrupt the conscious, curse of the monstrous. A bomb nuclear launches. Dinosaurs extinct, who instruct the comets. Destructive regardless. Buddha's twisted bamboo. The Messiah touch a carpet. unspoken tension permeated the air. The sun show us vision, made perfectly clear. The whole solar system, from days, months to years, casting net over our tranquil existence, joy and tears. The town's whispers grew louder, weaving tales of a particular king of power, deceived as well. Conversation in hushed tones spoke of a clandestine underworld, King Tut's bones, the son of hell. Gray smoke filled the air, creating a nostalgic atmosphere, contentment, religious. In the quietude of recent years, a mysterious veil descended from the night upon the living. The sun dipped below the horizon. The streets took on a different shape altogether, monopolizing luxury cars, sleek and expensive, stealthily rolled through the winters. Criminal business with their wives and the fitness. Some took bribes, leads to a sentence. Some survived, codependent, now they co-defendants. Exposed to witness through hopes and contradictions. Cellmates, ex-cons in prisons. Killers with long convictions. Addicts with strong addictions. Badges, they draw depictions. Priest and mystic, listen. My book fell apart when I touched it. Its pages turned back to a papyrus, then went back to a tree, to a seed of a mustard.
Yeah. That was cool, man. What's good? What's good? All right. Let's see. We've got something that Priest had sent in over here. Let me see. Let me pull this up. We're gonna show this real quick. Here we go. Okay, so this is interesting. Hold up. Here we go. 1 second. So y'all gonna like this. I'm gonna bring it on screen. Check, check. Okay. Watch this, y'all. This was a good find. Has to do with music. And I'll bring it up like this. All right, here we go.
It's been more than music. Sometimes it's been a prophecy. Some of our sharpest lyricists didn't just predict their own fates. They saw the future unfold before it even happened. Back in '98, Killah Priest was talking national surveillance, eye scanning tech, even synthetic brains. Sound familiar? A year later, Nas painted a world of self-driving cars, drones, and the rich buying tickets to space. Today, that's just Tuesday. Then there's Outkast dropping bombs over Baghdad in 2000, long before the US occupation in the region. An anti-war anthem turned accidental foreshadowing. And in 2001, The Cool's party music cover had an eerie image. Boots Riley and Pam the Funkstress appearing to take down the Twin Towers months before 9/11. Fast forward to 2017, Kendrick Lamar warns the whole world going mad, bodies is adding up, market's about to crash. A few years later, pandemic, economic chaos. Coincidence? Or maybe hip-hop has always been the world's realest crystal ball. In many ways, hip-hop has been more than music.
Oh, we were just talking about music and magic. You know, that could have been a thing to where, like, did they predict the future or did they create it?
There's the question. That's the kind of the defining question of humanity right now, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are we selecting? Are we creating? I mean, if you follow the multiverse model, you might say, look, everything is happening all at once. You know, every path exists and every path is in a spiral. So it could be, look, it could be we could all be selecting what's occurring at every instant. You know, like if somebody asks you, where'd you grow up and what did your parents do for a living? You know, there'd be a ready answer and it would be very persuasive and I believe it, you believe it. But it could be that it's each instant, you know, we're choosing reality. And I think selection and creation almost are the same thing because everything is infinite. You know, that's at least what I think at this point in the search.
Yeah.
You know,
That's interesting stuff, man. It's another thing like life imitates art. Art imitates life.
yeah. I mean, It's funny. There's a mystic I love named Neville Goddard. He's tattooed here, and he was a British Barbadian mystic. Died in 1972, and he taught that everything that we experience is outpictured from the imagination. And he said, but it already exists. It already exists. It's just a question of bringing it into your awareness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fearsome thing. Everybody says, well, if that's true, then why is there so much tragedy in life? Why is there so much war? And it's like, well, it's got to be inside us too, it seems to me.
Yeah. That's true. Damn. All right. Man, we can go on and on, but we're going to go right to the song promotion segment. And this is where we play tracks that were submitted to the show. We're going to do some analysis, some promotion for these artists. So let's go. Here's the intro.
Song promotion. You send in your music, we play it live on the show for Killah Priest and the world to hear.
All right. And for those at home, Priest watches all the shows. You know what I mean? He sees everything. So don't think that your music that you're submitting isn't being heard by Priest. Priest hears it all. He hears everything. So that's cool. Let's see. So today is the 23rd. We're looking for submissions after the 17th. That's right. Okay. So let's see here. 17th. Here we go. All right. We got our first submission here is by an artist named Reborn the Rebizzle from Danbury, Connecticut. With a song called Each One Teach One. All right. That's what's up. Go. Whoops. Wrong button.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, yo, what up, yo, what up, son? Yo, Reed, what's good, man? Yo, what's going on, man? Yo, I'm just trying to vibe, son, you know what I mean? Hey, yo, I just put together this beat right here, man, you know what I mean? Just wanna know what you guys think about that joint, man. Yo, that's that each one teach one, son. You know what I mean? For real, son. Word up, man. Yo, what's going on, man? Yo, we don't pass the truth like that, man. These cats know what time it is, son. You know what I mean? Up, man. So I just want my whole crew to come through, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to be on the track with me, you know what I mean? Hey, yo, we right here, man.
Oh, wait a minute.
You young cats out there.
My bad. Did we have a show last Thursday? I think we did, huh? I'm tripping. I remember this beat. Okay. My fault, y'all. We did this one on last Thursday. Ever since my birthday, everything's been a blur. Okay. Let's go back here. Still a good song. We're going to go back to the 23rd. Here we go. That's right. Today's Sunday. Okay. This artist's name is Ruby. Instrumental by the beautiful Nora Boo 7. The song is called Runted. All right. Now we on track. It's Mercury retrograde.
Alone staring into a telescope, aiming, zooming for information, stuck to the notepad, spaz, no letters can describe the situation. Fatal advice, strike missiles then sent into the skies, one bag of rap stash, voices chanting deceitful verbs, cross my heart vibrant herbs, of an infinite passed on in calligraphy, mixed agility, precise rhyme them, pleased to sit with thee. Again, Most High teaches me patient. Help excited nerves, channel no rotten herbs, just bee swings entering sentencing. Making cam kills, skrill and lotus, best in focus, creating potions. With no poison, just iron sheep, lightning, space rhyming, Viking, ghost high, host the skies unseen. Lost on the big screen, Blu-ray vision, volts, bolts landing. Minister monster eating all the garlic and the lobster. Biggie Smalls, Tupac resurrected on the scene. Holograms, analog, catalog of Mob Deep, never weep unless it's the point of no return. My brother meeting mortal technique, one of the best with technique. Crazy, amazing vocab. Most brag dismissing the truth, but still end up on a loop. Troop with a 16. Abilities of evil, no reason for the feeling drunk, messed up, special suicidal rivals on the same cycle. Bionic crystal poem for Michael. This one's off the chain, insane, crazed, deranged place poetry. See, look deeply, enough crops to smoke frequently. Roll it up, sold by carpet sellers, dope as fuck. Hold him up, indecent swine, crime line, diamond, entwined, Dexter measure, off the head for pleasure. Push it to the limit, no gimmicks, limericks, wishbone fresh. Fiber fodder, God set anew. I know scarecrow, flow, one flu, one crash course, night nurse. Burst inmate, suicidal, taking lives, too strong to fight, eyes like Christ. The second right, size, note nice twice. The pain type linen, demon lancer, Dante dapper, craze faster, answers backwards, point taken, Neolithic linguistic programming, show up, goes nuts, ciphers complete, at least beast control, understand smoking turtle, with Nathan, stating facts, wax vision for Christmas, miss hit list, blow the wick, out retarded, don't start shit, wide awake, ace rampant.
All right. Poetic. Sounds cool. I like his flow. Went along with the beat pretty good. What you think, Mitch?
I thought those lyrics were incredible.
Man.
That man's a poet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I dig him.
Yeah. Cool flow to it. Very liquid. You know, it felt natural.
Yeah. You could see he's also a man we all hear, be yourself. You know, he's being himself. And there's no put on there. That's the man.
Yeah, that creates the authenticity. They're from Ireland. Brownsquay, Thomongate, Limerick. That's cool. It's interesting it's interesting when you consider how this show is worldwide.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And the accent comes through, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
We've got another submission from the same artist. This one is Rube, instrumental by Nora Muldowney from Limerick. The song is called Dream State. All right, that correlates well with today's show.
I love it, she's amazing. Thieves in the basement, fragrance, timeless essence, paper trailing, settle down, clown, the best around. Round one, continue right beside you. Nice to know, she's a pro, off we go, it's nice to know. Last stage, hyper age, crisis craze, but still remain sane. Enough of your silly ways. Here for now, but gone for days. Might engage, your eyes slit the tiger's rage. Drum roll, soul open goal, save yourself soul. You will fold once the game froze. Well, seasons change, no close the door. Sure shot, ignore the negative speech impediment. Speed's irrelevant, cheese please remember him. Never again will we see the notes and flows. Hurt by the boat, healed service, near the sphere moments. Combat action, 1-1-1, 420, ready, steady, deadly, ruby, truly, point mark, aim straight on the head, game. Life, get it right, stripes and stars, bars precise, clean, tight team, light beam, works up the verse. Folds, uppercuts, plain to puzzle person, art loan, number one, seeking sheet, elite, a life like Christ, cycling, world revolting. Rip recorder, pull the cord, course sign, prime, jotting down the line, jogging past forest to where pine cone, design dome, complex, complete shown. Peace, unlike the beast, 6636 random pin code, access granted, made it, first go ransack the station, repeated whiplash, cash, hash, this and that, flat rated, orchestrated matrix, pages face it, book proof, hoot shoot, blue from the taut, super glue, clue, form sought, chemical, untraceable, cable, sequence capable to enter it like the sign of Gemini, Bobby Bailey, detailed railing, rattle the king, baffled happening, Back to words, silver lining, dreamt the blood. Sub-zero scorpion near 2 stars traveling. Mortal compass battling the snake heathen, slave villain, contracted agent, wages engaged in outer space. Think purple, skies burst, full inch in everything. Saturday 1st, friend August Fiend, listen, sitting there, chair, spot, spare, sheer slanta. Fada, faded, negotiate, advocate, part squid. Art magazine, upstates the museum. See him signing, sung, son number 1. Older, take note, watch seeking, peek peeking. This is it, legit, not the same, nothing compares. It's like riding a bike for the first time. Divine, shine like 920. Find tracks, Nero, excavation. Dear Hillary, care to put ear out, feel the flow like Biggie say, unbelievable. Across comes heads move, legs groove. Basic tone gathered up, pricely advice, rich coffee and donuts. Fruit golden, suit yourself, food spells, don't forget to break the fast, slice syllables. Clock spell rings at 6 and then 12. Which starts, imagine the Mason's logo, G imprinted in each and every galaxy. Piss cell on tonight, 6.
All right. Nice.
Wow.
Again with the smooth flow. How'd you like that?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think these last 2 artists are laying down world-class lyrics.
Wow.
World-class lyrics. So there's something in the drinking water over there, but these guys are bringing something, I think, very powerful. People, now and again, you hear people say, oh, there's nothing going on in poetry today. And it's like, maybe you're looking in the wrong place, because these guys have something going on.
Yeah. It was chill. Good good authenticity. It was nice.
Yeah.
Dream state. It
Yeah,
kind of correlated well with that type of beat.
That's true.
That's nice. It's good because it takes an open mind to appreciate certain types of artistry,
Yeah. These guys, they bring who they are, and that's terrific.
Yeah. And the complexity is nice, to where it's not too over the head.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Good submission. Coming up next, we got an artist here named DJ Blazer and RA7 featuring Planet Asia. From Los Angeles. Song is called Mindbender, produced by Yahe Beats. All right.
What kind of shit you want?
Uh-oh.
Rocking my universal crown at the podium. Chains on. What's today's math? Answer or get banged on. Powerful Jabbar Allah, the mad Buddha. Here to knock you out for the Gouda like Zab Judah. Shout out to my shooters that ain't on the internet. Kill you in different ways that ain't even invented yet. As far as politics, I've been a threat. Get ready to die for fucking with my intellect. I'm well guarded. Every show you see me in. The world leader, I am no comedian. The Anunnaki giant is carbon-based, but my family reunion is outer space. As above, it is below. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, that's for sure. Cold chain military's my gun show. 100-round drums go. Stupid in the shootout. I flew out to meet you and fight. You got blew out and blown up for playing games with these grown-ups. You getting money, I'm getting money. So what? You still a savage. In the pursuit of happiness, my impression will still be on your mind after this.
Yeah. David J, the Blaze Kid. I'm underground as hell, so underground that I fell to the basement. Now but J's into hell. Flames that was felt, dealt the same shit as well. Battles of the Cyrus, fire on fire up in the ciphers. Precarious, then came Aquarius, drowning out the vampires. Reptilians, are Brazilian. Tunnels in Los Angeles, Wu-Tang affiliates. Refers to algorithms quick, some are scandalous. Vandalists manhandle this with the cannabis. Wearing velvet gloves, but they's filled with the iron fist. Filled with the iron fist. Gorillas in the mist, buds in the piff. What is all of this? You oughta be not bothering a king. You might get slaughtered in the ring. Catching the slaughter bin by that tiger, lion, and a bear. Yeah, you lying there, you lying everywhere. You're full of the shit, I'm full of the clips. I'm popping them, you drop it quick. I'm bombing them, knocking them down to the ground after spotting them. Through binocular, proceed. Start dropping the bombs, ripping off arms, but they suck it. Rasulallah, tell it, about that rocket.
All right. That was cool. What you think?
I liked it. I thought the wind chimes or the bamboo chimes in the background were great. And I liked his lyrics. He's dropping some Hermeticism in there. He's dropping some astrology in there, but he's got a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
He's another great lyricist, so I really dug it.
Yeah, I liked Planet Asia's verse. That was solid. Ad-libs were a little bit loud on David J. Blazer. Needs to be mixed and mastered. The rhymes were kind of sporadic, but I guess that can be considered, what's the word for that? Artistically,
Like freestyle.
yeah. Something with an A I'm trying to think of right now. It's like, I don't know, but it's strange on purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Unorthodox. Yeah. So
Okay.
we can consider it that. Kind of a verbal Picasso.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if somebody called me a verbal Picasso, I'd carry that around for life. So I think that's high praise.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many bars his verse was right there. That kind of sounded like, I don't know, like 29. But it needs to be a little polished up, I think, on the second verse. But it was cool to hear Planet Asia kill it. Chat room's putting in there. Abstract. Thank you, Aurora Borealis. I was trying to say abstract. Thank you. Yeah, it was abstract.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. I think if he mixes and masters that would be a solid track.
Yeah.
But
And it's dreamy. It keeps its pace and beat, but it's dreamy. Maybe it's the chimes.
yeah, the beat maker Yahe Beats is a very experienced beat maker. He makes a lot of Killah Priest type beats also. He's pretty well known on YouTube for making type beats for Priest. So it's really good stuff. But that was great. That was cool. But I'm gonna be critical and say get that mixed and mastered to make it ultimate. You know, but it's good to hear David Blazer. He's getting better with his delivery. He submits every show, so the more he submits, the more critical we can become. But definitely a lot of improvement there. He says more to come thanks to the craft, Rasulullah, and Planet Asia's passion to continue his masterful art. This for all you who love these guys, support our artists. Cool. Shout out to Blazer for doing this thing. All right, let me hit refresh. I think we got 2 feature presentations today. Nope, we got another submission here from Aurora Borealis, who helped me out with that word there. From the holy city of New York, he has a song called Unbelievable, produced by Aurora Borealis. Let's go.
Unbelievable, everything that exists. Unbelievable, the sun that shine. Unbelievable, reflection of the moon. Unbelievable, these rhymes that I spit. Unbelievable, the goons that shoot. Unbelievable, mass shooting. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, everything that exists. Unbelievable, the sun that shine. Unbelievable, reflection of the moon. Unbelievable, these rhymes that I spit. Unbelievable, the goons that shoot. Unbelievable, man, shooting. Unbelievable. And yo, what really goes into the heart of a man that commits such a wicked act? I sit back, watch the plant grow, wonder how it's all possible. A human growth formulating from a single cell, or how so many cats in the jail cells, or where God dwell. The formula he created the angels. Definition of creation, in the beginning was the word. The word was with God, the word was God. How did he formulate language or make our shape? The plan is to calm it. The meteorite started twinkle at night. As a kid, I used to look at the heaven with a list of questions, molecular, microscopic topic, centipede, ant, ladybug, material, septic, skeptic, atheist, racist, John the Baptist, New York, the golden child, Boulevard walk with the fork and the pitch dark stalk. Unbelievable. Everything that exists, unbelievable, the sun that shine, unbelievable, reflection of the moon, unbelievable, these rhymes that I spit, unbelievable, the goons that shoot, unbelievable, mass shooting, unbelievable.
Alright.
Unbelievable.
Shout out to Aurora Borealis doing his thing. Kind of reminds me of Young Dolph. I'm thinking of the song Juicy or Major. But I like the hook because it's going towards that style, which is kind of a modern day type of rap song. So I think that hook has potential. The beat, though, man, you need to have a snare. I want to hear a boom, 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 ka, boom, 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 ka, or some kind of like bass and a snare happening. You knew I was going to say that, though. So, like, I would definitely add drums. You know what I mean? Because that song has potential. You can have one solid note, just boom, boom. You know what I mean? And then like a knock, a bass kick, and a knock, and you would have something that's actually similar to a today modern type of style. What you think, Mitch?
I'm a words person, so again, this artist blows me away with the lyrics.
Wow.
You know, I'm hearing what he's doing in there. He's presenting life in all its beauty and in all its excruciating pain. And it's done in a very structured way. This is not easy to do. This is another great lyricist, and I thought he really brought it.
Nice. That's good. It's good to get an optimistic view in here too. You know, I get a little more critical to the artists that submit every so often, but that's a really good take on it.
But it's a positive criticism, you know.
It's
like
very good.
It's producing.
Absolutely. What sign are you? I gotta ask.
Sagittarius.
Oh wow, there's
Sign
the optimism
Sagittarius.
right there.
Yeah, and the and rising Aquarius.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So the Aquarius placements usually have that deep, almost outer space type of futuristic energy.
Yeah.
Which correlates with Priest, because Priest is a Leo with a moon in Aquarius.
Oh.
And that shows so much in his lyrics.
Leo. That's fascinating.
You see the Aquarius in there.
It's interesting, yeah. I got a lot of Leos in my life. What is your sign? What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces with a moon in Leo.
Boom. Oh, no kidding. So this Mercury retrograde is going to wrap in Pisces.
Yeah.
And so that'll be an interesting time for self-discovery.
Oh man, I've been going through it.
Things happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much has happened, but like, it's been steady. I rearranged this whole studio. You know, so like for me, I'm into the feng shui. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when I rearrange my house, move things around, put this plant here, put my computer in the command position with my chair, I can see the front door, like all these little things, it's totally changed my productivity. But it's funny how it happened during the retrograde. It's happening, you know, just literally all now. Like I literally just finished making it like this and stuff like that. But when I studied feng shui, it was a game changer. I got rid of old T-shirts. Do you know what I mean? Became more of a minimalist.
Yeah, yeah.
Not completely, because as a producer, it's not easy. because there's so much stuff, you know what I mean, with keyboards and all this studio equipment. But just minimizing as much stuff as possible, only having the necessities out.
Yeah.
And
So if there was one principle that you would say you learned from feng shui, what would it be?
to declutter.
Declutter.
Yeah. Like I don't like having like artifacts or even like decorational stuff out, because for me it's like clutter. It gets in the way. Do you know what I mean? Only stuff that's completely a necessity, meaningful or useful would be out. Like I have a salt lamp, and then I have a bamboo plant, and then like this chi generating pyramid. That's the only like recreational stuff I would have out. Everything else is like a necessity, like the speakers and the TV and like air purifier and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But just having the necessities out and then archiving the rest. It's kind of how I manage my files.
Right.
I'll have whatever is active out, and then whatever's not being active is archived.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. David Lynch had said that, like the artist, whatever he does, whether musician, writer, painter, whatever your craft, you've got to have producer. You've got to have your workshop ready, and that you will lose ideas if you don't have that workshop ready. So if you're a painter, you got to have those canvases stretched. You got to have, you know, your paints at the ready, and whatever time of day or night it is, go to it. And so it's kind of what you're saying. You know, it's like you have your tools out, and the tools don't include anything superfluous. You know.
Yeah, it's like a chef in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Or you know, a mechanic in their garage.
Yeah.
The better you have everything set up, the more efficient you're gonna work.
Yeah.
And I really got into the efficiency part. You know what I'm saying? I got my rising is in Libra.
Okay, cool.
So I'm kind of obsessed with balance.
Yes.
To a fault.
Well, you know, Libra's not like a kind of kamikaze sign, you know, it's also a bit of a peacemaker, so it takes the edge off it, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm always doing that within myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I dig.
Always telling me, okay, you know, like pull back on this, let's push forward on this, blah blah blah. And there's a lot of indecisiveness happening because everything's constantly being weighed.
Oh, I get you. I get you. Yeah, I understand.
But that's where ChatGPT, or now I'm going to start using the word that you were talking about. I'll have full-on conversations with AI.
Right. Yeah, it could. You know, they can get pretty subtle.
Yeah.
Those guys. Yeah, it's funny. You know, it's interesting too. Like, you know, we are at Mercury retrograde. People get frightened of Mercury retrograde because they think, oh, everything's going to go backwards and so on. And there is some of that. But there's also a big chance to reconsider things, undo knots. You know, it's not all this bad stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of times problems will actually get solved during Mercury retrograde because we'll retrace our steps. I think there's like been too much fear around it, you know.
Yeah. Everyone's going to react differently to it. I, for some reason, seem to be more productive around it. And Priest notices that. Priest is like, wow, you get a lot of stuff done during retrograde.
Interesting.
And that's because I'm redoing, reorganizing, you know, rethinking, you know, going back into the studio in the first place. So it's interesting. It's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't see it as a detriment too much.
Right. And this is a heavy one because, like, in Aries, I think takes us way back to roots. And then in Pisces, maybe softens it for some people, but it'll be full on for you in Pisces. So you'll be productive.
Yeah.
You will be doing.
That's cool. You're a Sagittarius, so you're definitely like a philosopher also.
That's what I'm told. It's a heavy aspect at Sag too. You know, it's like we got the sun and moon in Sag. Yeah, it's like very heavy.
Wait, so your moon is in Sag?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a double
pretty
Sag.
wild. Yeah.
That is
heavy.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So you started your own. You got your own book.
Yeah.
And I assume your own company and all that too, or?
No, none of that really. Probably that should come, but I've always been like one who licenses out my stuff to another publisher, or you know, work for a production company or something. I probably like. Well, maybe in some ways I should have my own company, but that's just been my path. You know, somebody else keeps the warehouse and I just do the writing.
Yeah.
So, it works for me. Works for me.
It's interesting seeing the profound Sagittariuses like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
You
I was
know,
thinking during the show, actually.
yeah, Bruce Lee was a Sagittarius, but he became a master of his works. And,
Yeah.
He has quotes that have carried on and everything too. And
Yeah.
in a way, you could say he was using magic also because the philosophies
Oh,
themselves.
definitely. He was interested very much in Krishnamurti. Do you know Krishnamurti?
No, what's up?
Oh, Jiddu Krishnamurti. He was he came from the Hindu tradition, but he was embraced in the early 20th century by a group of occultists who felt he was kind of like a world teacher, and he broke away from that because he didn't want to be deified, and then he just became sort of an independent voice. But he was a very brilliant man. Died maybe about 25 years ago, and Bruce was like very into Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti, I guess you would say, was a religious universalist who just wanted people to kind of like wake up to their true nature.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was a remarkable man.
You made me you reminded me of the idea of pop culture magic. Are you familiar with pop culture magic? Yeah.
Yeah. And I dig that.
And it's funny because we had Ghostface Killah called Priest today.
Okay.
But he goes by Tony Stark.
Right, you were saying that just in the middle of the Iron Man discussion.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nickname it's a nickname he's given himself.
It's mad.
Tony Stark. But is
Right.
is that not also considered pop culture magic to correlate yourself to a fictional character?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I think we all do it sometimes unconsciously. And that's when it can get tricky. I mean, when I was growing up, believe it or not, we would watch like Archie Bunker in the house, and I thought, oh, that's how a grown-up is supposed to behave. It's supposed to yell and everything. And then it was only as I got older that I was like, no, that's not normal behavior.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of magic too, and it can work an unexpected influence. Sometimes you have to break these spells. Yeah.
I'm such a fan, I think, of Marvel, and I think many people are also because of the idea that we put ourselves into the hero's journey, or as the hero ourselves. But instead of fighting these monsters and demons, we're fighting, our own internal battles and stuff, like procrastination. It could be for some people alcoholism, for some it could be whatever the problems with their girlfriend, or it could be whatever kind of internal battles they're having. Could be considered like a monster that a Marvel hero is fighting. So we're all superheroes technically in our own way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But what I liked the most was the stoic nature of the superhero.
Yes.
So that's where I got into Stoicism.
Right.
And I started learning more about Stoicism and how important it is for us to be stoic, especially in the face of danger.
Right.
As men.
Yes.
I think every man should study Stoicism. And as someone who's Sagittarius, you understand the philosophy of, what is his name? Marsilius?
Oh, Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius, yeah.
I mean, I could spend the rest of my life reading his meditations, and I always find something new in them. And I think, and it's funny because he never wrote the thing to be published. Somebody later put the title Meditations on it, but his original title was just To Myself. It was just his private diary, and it was published after he died.
How powerful is that, though?
Yeah, right. It's a weird train, life is. You just don't know where something's going to go, and I mean, of all the Roman emperors, he's probably the most widely remembered next to Julius Caesar, just because of his diary. It's incredible. That was his greatness.
Yeah. Like nothing out of your control is, if you can't control it, you shouldn't worry about it.
Right.
Like little simple things like that.
Right.
I think everybody should study Stoicism, because
I dig
that. You program your subconsciousness to be stoic.
Yeah.
And you're halfway to a superhero.
That's a damn good point.
We're watching these because a giant monster will appear in front of Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Some crazy And in real life, us humans would be like, "Oh my God, this is great."
Yeah.
And we'd react emotionally.
Yeah.
But to calm the emotional mind
Right.
and just be steadfast in the face of danger, I think even metaphorically is key. Because some people are dealing with their baby mamas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are dealing with bosses at work. And rather than react emotionally,
Yeah.
if they can take the Stoic philosophies from meditations,
Yeah.
it would assist them in dealing with situations and problems with, you know, just more of a, I don't want to say alpha male, but like just a stronger masculine type of intellect,
Yes.
you know,
I dig.
and less emotional, less emotions, especially when
Yeah.
dealing with work and
Right.
dealing with other people, you know.
Right.
But I digress.
No, that's great. I mean, you know, it finally fucking dawned on me after years and years to model that behavior for my kids because it's the only way they learn, through example.
Yeah.
And you know, if I could reverse anything in life, I suppose I would start that earlier. You know, modeling that behavior for boys, very important.
Yeah.
It's everything, actually.
Because they're gonna mimic.
Yeah, they do. You know, and then finally you look in that mirror and you're like, oh shit, okay, time to change it up. And you know, you're lucky if the message comes through. You know, comes through late for some of us like me.
Yeah. No, a
Yeah,
lot.
but we try.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The power of influence.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let me hit refresh. Let's see if we got any more submissions here. Okay, so that's it for the song promotions. We're gonna go into the feature presentations. We got 2 today. And feature presentations are usually like regulars that come on the show. And let's see. Let me see where he sent the first one. I believe we have a submission from Crip Jesus. Crip Jesus is a regular on the show. Also, he is a Sagittarius as well. He actually wrote his own Bible.
Oh, shit.
It's called the Blue Bible.
All right.
And he's a very common guest that comes on a lot, but he's not a common person. He's very smart. He emailed the song. Okay, I'm gonna check it out here. So you're gonna like this, but you'll see why we call these next 2 submissions feature presentations here very soon. Okay, I'm checking the email. Damn, I got this Microsoft thing that makes me verify every single time I sign in. It constantly has to go to my phone to verify. It's an authenticator thing.
Yeah, the 2-step stuff can get old.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. This one is called Niru and Crip Jesus, okay? And here we go.
What you are now listening to are the words of a pharaoh, reincarnated in the flesh, true and living. Let's go. Who shot your holes through your heart chakra and your pineal gland, the medulla oblongata, mob ties like Sinatra. Only difference is I'm completely your body unsolved like Big Papa. Take notes, these advanced classes in your girl face like them big ass eyelashes. Who got questions? I got answers. I've been shitting, I need pampers. Bring your lady, she gon' give me head and shoulders. No dandruff, click your heels 3 times and end up in Kansas. My 4-4 Magnum throw tantrums and got my pants sagging. The pig still on the corner straggling while my niggas still in the spot bagging it. What's happening?
Words from the ruler, words from the pharaoh. I'm Medusa, he meant some Musa. Your thought process too narrow. Poisoned by the boosters, jam mostly be sterile. Foreshadow the future with my medulla. No need for tarot. Leave them in terror with my presence. Happens when you're the original. The history that you know is fictional. You don't wanna listen though. It's giving Keenan Kel show. Oh, here it go. We've been here before. In every era, in every timeline, attracting like minds like mine. I'm a MC and you a square like Einstein. Eve Jean and LSD residue on my spine. For Fuji and Crip Jesus, needless to say, this that $1 million game we just giving away. Mumble rappers my prey, mumble rappers should pray. Keep track of what I relay, cause I'm sprinting at Shikari's pace.
All right. Well, that must be a rough draft. That was cool.
Yeah.
What you think of that?
Startled there a few times in the headphones because the production went in a different way than I was expecting. I liked it. Yeah.
He probably still has to get it mixed and mastered. He has a good team though, but I think he wanted to like put that out there to show that. What's interesting also is Niru, the female that you heard in that, is also a Sagittarius.
That's a trip, and there's like Niru is somebody I'm giving a talk on in Vancouver in January. That was India's first prime minister, and he was a great man. And I didn't know about the Sag background. That's very interesting. I have to give a great credit to his lyrics, the artist's lyrics as well, because he's mixing in a lot of Hermetic philosophy, especially in the first part of the piece, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, that's Crip Jesus. He really goes in.
Terrific.
Good stuff. Shout out to them. Cool track. Let me know if y'all need that to be mixed and mastered. I got a company called Studio AD. Mixed and mastering. I get it done pretty quick. I got the most competitive prices out there. Only $100 per song for a mix and master, and the first one is free. So, if you need that, let me know. Let's see, our last submission. We've got a feature presentation of Mighty Hebrew with a song called, let me open it first, War Cloud. All right, here we go.
I'm from the N-O-R-T-H-B-H-I-double-L-Y-H-U-N-T-I-N-G-P-E-R-K, where I see my first sparks from an AK. Tough cruise thug, we don't play. Attention all personnels. How about some hardcore MOP at my inner lion Wall Street ops? I tour, bang hammers, call me Thor, brainstorm. It's Dr. Mind Ben. I'm a Czar, warlord, night prince. With 12 tens and night bracelets around my wrist in the nose ring. Breaking Rothschild's horns and fingers. Call me the legend, war cloud vet. Respect the open hand, iron pocket man damage. Jim Jones vamping in the night, Frank Dukes, Bloodsport, final fight, fucking Titan. I clash like Rhino, I'm the man, macho, I savage you bastards and remain Gordon loophole. That shit's fucking dirty. Wait, 8 diagram ball out like Burt Reynolds. Better run cannon. This ain't no monkey shit. Larry walking like a moat with his hair curly, trans flip with a wicked strip. Call the devil Wilson, laying dormant, turncoat informant. Don't like it, learn to love it. Torment, 4 horsemen, flare up like red eyesight like Falcon. 6-point talisman, gave power, crushing cane on Black Rain. War cloud in the sky. War cloud in the sky. War cloud in the sky. War cloud, Yah holds high. War cloud in the sky. War cloud in the sky. War cloud in the sky. War cloud, Yah holds high.
Yeah. That is cool. Shout out to the Mighty Hebrew for that track called War Cloud. Let's see. Yeah. Produced by Wise Mad. That's what's up. How'd you like that?
I dug it. Very relevant. A lot of very well used scriptural references and a point of view. I loved it.
Yeah. I like his rugged tone.
Yeah.
You know, it's he's I believe he's a Taurus.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But it's very cool.
And, yeah.
Nice.
I like the artwork as well.
Oh yeah. No, he put that whole project together. I'm not sure who did
beautiful.
The artwork, yeah. Shout out to the Mighty Hebrew for that. So, yeah. Good reviews in the chat. That was great. We got 133 people watching. I'm always seeing the numbers. All right. Well, that concludes the song promotion segment and the features. Man, this has been a cool show, man.
Yeah, I really dug it. I mean, this is like a whole festival.
Yeah.
It's terrific. Yeah.
We got to get you back again.
I love it.
We'll talk about some other stuff because I know we can go on and on and on talking about things.
Big. Yeah.
So, but that's what's up. Anything else you want to add before we close out?
Thanks for such a positive show, and the discussion was so wide ranging. The artists who contributed, the music, art, I think just revelatory. I love what you guys are doing, and it's an honor to be here.
Oh man, me too. I love what I do. And
yeah.
Thank you to everybody out there. Thank you to Jody Southworth. Thank you to Quaja, Rakib, SL Smith, all the regulars who stuck on this long and everything. We appreciate y'all. Man, it's been a good show. And we will be back on Thursday for the Podcraft. I believe Priest still has the wind down on Wednesday. Triple JC, shout out Jay Bland. Man, you got a lot of good reviews. They say Real Talk says Mitch is a legend.
Thank you.
Tau Rose says it was a good time. You'd be surprised how many enlightened people watch this show and are already, in the same frequency of what you speak on.
I could tell not only from the chat, but also from the quality of the musical artists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So that's that. We're going to close out with Nag Hamadi, one of Priest's latest music videos. And we'll see y'all on Thursday. Thanks so much again, Mitch.
Thank you, my man. Pleasure
Absolutely.
to be here. Appreciate it. Okay. See you
Nice
again.
to meet you.
Likewise. Likewise.
Have you heard of Nag Hamadi? No? Let me tell you about it. The Nag Hamadi Library is a collection of 13 ancient books called codices, containing over 50 texts. Texts that present a radically different view of early Christian beliefs.
During the early race, man wanted real estate, so he started building shape. Others started to fill away, though they started killing snake. Those of the worldly faith found themselves in pearly gates. Left his seat as girl inflates. Blessed he who elevates. Set the tea and meditate. Rain splash off of the stained glass. Medieval cathedrals that still stand in Spain and France. Skeleton figures how many diamonds his ring had. The courts had green grass. The hawks took spring baths. Across where kings clashed, they fought for the queen's hand. A masterpiece done by Priest. Refractory property so unique. Sister goes Sophia in her holy seat. Her feet Alistair Crowley sleeps. It's where Kiss and Bon Jovi meet. The Greek, the beast, the owl covered in rosaries. Prophetess, potions, and poetry. Abraxas, Rebus, Simha. The lion called Simba. When rhyming, I'm the Templar. The troubadour, make music for the temper. The rooster call from roof to floor. The eyes in the center. The truth is all manly hall. What lies within the picture. The fruit don't fall. Nuclear war that ties within the scriptures. The zodiac sign of Hitler. More than one Jack the Ripper. More than one Shakespeare. For some of the take years. The Nag Hamadi God body. That practice motionless karate. The dragon on my Vatican Armani. Nag Hamadi, Nag Hamadi. The craft I'm in, I'm mastering. The carpentry, the scaffolding. Corian stones to cornerstones. When I grab the pen, I fall in my zone and reach the African. Plastered in the walls of Rome, the priest is practicing. The royals on the doors of the dome, pads and fabric skin. On the mountain surrounded by columns, writing my album. All alone like I'm in the solemn, solving my problems. Gothic sanctuaries, the wall of St. Mary's. The Gospel of John is scary. Lately I've been drinking heavy, reading Psalms with nervous palms. Open the vote, grab my sword and my coat of arms. Murder I wrote. Nag Hamadi Library. Nag Hamadi Library.
Imagine finding a book that tells a completely different version of a story you thought you knew by heart. These manuscripts were hidden for a reason. In the end, Nag Hamadi's texts aren't just relics. They're a bombshell on traditional teachings, showing us just how diverse and dynamic early Christian thought was.